Okay, let's begin. Right now, I have someone in my nuclear family that is odd. Their schedule is very odd right now, and there might be a safety issue. But, well, I'll record until I get so worried about said potential safety issue that I will do something. Now everybody's all like really worried and stuff. It's like, sometimes people just kind of leave, and then they don't say when they're going to be back, and they be back. They're not back 4 hours later from when you expected to be back, and you're like, "What's going on?" Oh, I was just at the library doing stuff. Oh, oh, okay, no big deal. So, um, I had like after that whole um dealy wop where I couldn't figure out um how to get all the bad endings for Kokoro, and I had to look up a guide. Um, I thought this idea that maybe the same set of choices that will give you the Meizumi Annihilation 2 ending, if you manage to instead at the end, instead of giving the combined food to Yomogi, but keeping it yourself, so that you, Kokoro, ended up with the um, I'm trying to write something down, so I'm like really awkward talking. I'm doing like trying to talk and do something else at the same time. Um, Sorry. Um, then that set of choices will unlock something more in two scenes. I'm gonna actually I have to take a pause here and write three things down here. The thing is, though, part of what I have to do later is get that bad ending as Satoru, where um, you end up in that white room and you get killed by what appears to be Inamoto in his original body, which you are now occupying. So it's kind of like you get killed by yourself. If you go to Kokoro's route after you get that, apparently you get this ending at the very end. It's called "Trapped in the Shelter Cabin Alone Disaster," or something like that. So I'm gonna have to go back through all of Kokoro again anyway in the end um, in order to get that ending. And so it's kind of inefficient. Okay, I'm done writing now, so I can talk more freely. It's inefficient to to go do that stuff now. Go try that stuff now, as opposed to just jumping in with Satoru right away. Um, so why is this? What is this? Um, so what I mean by that is, um, we're missing some of false accusations, right? Yeah, self-defense, false accusations, 94%. That's a very Meizumi heavy scene, which suggests that, but you only get into it if you make Kokoro in charge of the combined rations. So you don't get into that scene if you make Yomogi in charge of the combined rations, but you have to make Yomogi in charge of the combined rations to get Meizumi Annihilation 2. So that's why I didn't actually go into there when I was doing Meizumi Annihilation 2. And so I don't know if you get extra lines from Meizumi potentially if you make her mad at you with the same fervorance. And Endless Mental Environment is also a Meizumi scene. It's a scene where she pickaxes you in the head if you make the wrong choice. And there's a lot missing from it, and you might get more from her if you make her mad enough. But again, you don't actually go into that scene if you actually go to the Meizumi Annihilation 2. So anyway, But I'll get back to that when I get back to Kokoro later. It's inefficient to do it now. Right now, I just want to jump right into Satoru. So let's jump right into Satoru.
Yeah, Chaika.
And I'm just going to go through. Now, with this one, okay, this is going to be hard. It seems like if you do Who I Wonder, you get extra lot, like an extra choice, which may take a choice away from you later as Satoru. Because it seemed like it did that in Kokoro's route, where you lost, if you chose this Who I Wonder, you lost the ability to do like the P joke thing. However, that might add an extra line, which... So I don't know really how to deal with this right now. I'm going to just go through as an angel and see what happens. I'm not going to really mess around in this zone too much. But that could make me lose like a little bit of dialogue somewhere, and I'll get all flustered. How do I restore this little bit of dialogue, and so on. This is exactly the same as if you do Kokoro, if it make you go through the same introduction all over again. But you have to. You can't just jump in as Satoru, like, afterwards. It doesn't let you do it. Okay, I got exposition about the murders. You get this conversation where Kaiko says she's afraid of herself, but then old Keiko, when she's a teenager, doesn't seem very afraid of herself at all. She seems very content with her dastardly delicious evilness. Evilness. It's almost a twist the way it turns out, because you expect there to be a redemption or like an explanation, and it's just she just turns out the evil. Still haven't figured out how to skip that, and I theoretically could edit it out, but right now I am a very lazy editor. That may change in the future because I learned about something kind of recently, but Uh, wow, like these scene titles are such big hints. Um, that may change that, but we'll see. Right now, I added everything on the command line. So we're just gonna override everything. So it's our persona, and we're just gonna pick the opposite. Of what we chose the first time because we just want to get the opposite stuff. Why are you here, Meizumi? Lin.
どうしてお前がこん
Why
な
are
ところに
you... Ooh, I cut him off. Why are you here? I repeated the question. I couldn't find a way to say it any better than that. But now that I think about it carefully, what I said just now wasn't accurate at all. Why is she here? I shouldn't go asking her a question like that when I don't even know why I'm here myself.
あんた喧嘩
So they kind of indicating to you that's kind of the wrong choice, but... Okay, save it this one. Let's pick the opposite choice. No, it's nothing important.
大したことじゃない
No, it's nothing
気に
important.
しないでくれ
Don't worry about it. With that said, I moved away from him.
で、名前は
So, your name? Again, I heard his voice behind me. I answered as I walked aimlessly around the cramped room.
有機道悟だ
Yukido Satoru.
有機道悟
Save it this one. Now, this one's might be tricky because I'm gonna hit keep quiet at first, just because that might lead to another choice they don't get otherwise. Okay. So that does not come up with another choice. Okay, so let's load the file the save file I just made. Go take a look at my own appearance. I noticed it for the first time since coming here. The fact that Lin didn't recognize me as Yukido Satoru. Well, it turns out in the end she probably wouldn't have recognized you anyway. What was because my current appearance lacks the component which proves that Yukido Satoru is Yukido Satoru. Supposing a dog could walk, even if he said, I'm a cat, no one would believe him. Because compared to a cat, a dog is so clearly different in appearance and form. The dog lacks the component which proves that a cat is a cat. Then, just what is the component which proves that a cat is a cat? It's not something you can express in one word. Yeah, indeed, 1,000 words. It's a picture, right? The shape of the mouth, the whiskers, the ears, the teeth, the shape of the pupils, the claws, the texture of the fur, the shape of the body, its skeletal structure, its way of walking, its cry. All those things combined make its indescribable catness. What about, like, the DNA? Perhaps then the situation that I found myself in is the same as that pitiful dog-like cat. The current me perhaps doesn't appear Yukido Satoru-like. Therefore, Lin doesn't recognize me as such. Having deduced this within an instant, I timidly looked myself over. A ribbon at my chest, a light pink shirt, high laced-up boots. The back of my head was a soft white, and from my abdomen protruded 2 long, slender legs. It looked perfectly at home there.
そんなバカな
This can't be. The words left my mouth before I had time to think. I'd expected my current appearance to be different from my usual one, but to be wearing a skirt. I'm wearing a skirt. In short, this means, in Japan, that is, panicking, I took both hands to my chest. I put both hands to my chest. Though small, there were definitely 2 bulges there. A woman.
女だ
I'm a woman. Why hadn't I considered this possibility until now? And then it goes. Yeah, so Kaiko rushes into the basement going, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, which kind of in Japanese means idiomatically, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, right? It's a kind of a translation, bit of a translation decision there. Was told Utsumi-san to was told by
内海
Utsumi-san
さん
to
に
catch you.
捕まえるように言われたから。
I was told by Utsumi-san to catch you.
やっぱり
Then
あなたもあの女の仲間なのね。
you're her accomplice too. And of course, we're pretty sure that this seems to suggest that Kaiko knows that Utsumi is out to kill her at this point.
違う。仲間とかそういうんじゃなくて。
No, it's not like that. As soon as I said that, Satoru, Yuni's voice came behind me. I turned around instinctively. She didn't miss it. She slipped past me from the side and made to run away again. But I wouldn't let her. I promptly caught her by the arm. Like that, I embraced her firmly, pinning her to the spot.
いや、やめて、話してよ。
No, stop. Let me go. Let me
いいから
go.
落ち着け。
Listen to me. Get a
一
grip.
体何があったって言うんだ。
Tell me what's wrong. She wouldn't do that. No. There was no way I could hold a proper conversation with her now. Ceasing my questions, I held her as tightly as I could without hurting her. But she didn't give up on resisting. She continued struggling and flailing in my arms. From over her head, I could see someone approaching. It was Utsumi. She walked toward us slowly, her heavy footsteps resonating against the floor. Her right hand was holding something that gave off a metallic radiance, something that looked like a gun. Help me.
私を
Somebody help me. The girl's whimpers resounded against my chest. Utsumi stood behind the girl.
お願い
Please,
助けて助けて。
help me. Help me. The girl looked at me with pleading eyes. Utsumi quickly held the muzzle to the back of her neck and pulled the trigger. Okay. What's the backlog on this one? Perhaps it's difficult for you to understand. What? In any case, she's mentally ill. Confirm it. Same as Yukito couldn't hear. Confirm it. I couldn't help but nod. My heart felt like it was being eaten away, but here and now was the first time I heard the specific name for it. Dissociative identity disorder. I urged Utsumi again to confirm what I just
俺
heard.
は多重人格になっちまったのか。
I developed a split personality?
ええ、
Yes. She replied to my question with that
どう
word.
してわかる？
How can you
あな
tell?
たが冬川心の名前を名乗ったからよ。
Because you called yourself Fuyukawa Kokoro. I had no recollection of that, but since Uni confirmed it too, it had to be true. Some time ago, I had introduced myself as Fuyukawa Kokoro.
ねえ、でもなんで悟は
Okay. Any of these names sound familiar. Manazumi Lin and Yomogi Seiji. Say they don't, even though that's the wrong answer.
い
I
や
don't know.
知らない。聞いたことないな。
I don't know. I've never heard of them. I lied. But didn't think I was going to get away with
嘘で
it.
しょ。顔に出てるわよ。
It's a lie, isn't it? It shows on your
本
face.
当のことを教えて。
Now tell the
二人
truth.
のこと知ってるわよね。
You do know something about them, don't you? Maybe I do. Lin and I used to date, and as for Yomogi, he was Utsumi's. I shuddered involuntarily the moment I thought that. How could I have forgotten something so important up until now? Yomogi Seiji and Utsumi Kali were married. After the approval of the dual surname system with the law revision in 2008, Kali had changed her surname back to Utsumi, her maiden name. In other words, the man who'd appeared in my dream was none other than Utsumi's husband. However, why did Utsumi decide to ask about him now? And why Meizumi Lin, too? The fact that Utsumi knew about Yomogi Seiji was of no surprise to me. But how did she know about
ど
Lin?
うして答えてくれないの？
Why won't you answer me?
まあいいわ。
Well, never
じゃあ
mind.
次の質問。
Then, next
あなた
question.
は去年起きた赤倉岳の事故のこと覚えてる？
You remember the incident that occurred last year on Mount Akakura? Oh, we got a new set of choices here. I gotta save. Say, I do remember. Yeah, I remember that.
それなら覚えてるよ。
Yeah, I remember that one. She was probably referring to Flight HAL-18. At this... Okay.
思い出してくれたみたいね。
So you do remember it, after all. Utsumi's triumphant expression marked the destruction of my poor attempt at lying. Feeling awkward, I averted my glance. Utsumi continued.
ええ、そう。
Yes, that's right.
だから私は冬川さんや眉塚
Okay. Probably what my through line is going to be, but I'm going to take that and save there. Then load here. Yes. No! Pooey. That was a big mistake. Okay. Yes, load that file. They don't sound familiar. Skip forward. Save this. Where we're supposed to be. Yes. Say, I don't remember. No, what are you talking about? I lied again. For some reason, I didn't want her to know the truth.
とぼけないでよ。
Don't play dumb.
絶対知ってるはずなんだから。
There's no way you couldn't have heard about it. At this point, Uni abruptly forced his way into the conversation.
ねえねえ、二人とも何の
This is the long conversation between Uni and Utsumi. I mean, Utsumi and Satoru. Which doesn't appear to make changes. Doesn't appear to change in any sort of way. It's going to be something annoying to skip through later, I'm guessing. Okay. And then, just to check, I'm gonna load this one. They do sound familiar.
あ
And
あ、知ってる。知ってるよ。
see if there's another choice after this one where you have two options. No, there isn't. Okay. It's just the same. Okay. Now we're going to load this one. And pick the opposite choice that I did the first time. What caused my did?
最後に一つだけ聞いてもいいか？
Can I ask you just one last thing?
どうぞ。
Of course.
俺はどうして DID なんかになっちまったのかな？
How did I end up with something like
い
DID?
や、もちろん俺自身にはそんな自覚はない。
Not that I really believe that I haven't.
でも少なくとも内海さんはそう信じてるんだろ？
But Utsumi-san, you definitely think I do, right? I do.
じゃあ教えてくれないか？
Then can you tell
内
me?
海さんは俺が DID になってしまった原因はどこにあると考えてるんだ？
Utsumi-san, what do you think caused my DID?
それは私にもわからないわ。
I don't
結
know.
城堂君本人から直接話を聞かないと。
Unless I could ask Yukito-kun himself directly. Yukito-kun himself. These words could be interpreted to mean that my personality now isn't that of the original Yukito
でも
Satoru.
いつから結城堂君が DID にという質問ならある程度推測できないこともないわね。
But if the question is, since when has Yukito-kun had it, then perhaps I can make an educated guess.
いつからだと？
Since when?
おそらく小さい頃から。
Most likely, since childhood.
解離性同一性障害は基本的に幼少期のトラウマが原因となって発症するものなのよ。
Basically, the symptoms of the dissociative identity disorder come to light due to trauma experienced in early childhood.
成人になってから症状が現れるのはごくごく稀なの。
It's extremely rare for symptoms to begin appearing in
だ
adulthood.
からきっとあなたも
So I'm sure you too.
さあこれでもう十分でしょ。
Will that be
ユ
all
ニ
for
君を呼
now?
んできてちょうだい。
Please call Unikun for me.
助かったよ。
You've been a big help.
いろいろ教えてくれてありがとう。
Thank you for telling me all of those things. Expressing my gratitude from the bottom of my heart, I left the room.
あ、そうだ。
Ah, right. Okay, this lets me skip. Scene's called Separation. And there's no choices in that, now we're at Uniform. Okay. Now, no choices in that. Now we're at Dimly. Now we're at Calmness. Now we're at Examine. Okay. Save. At Examine. Now that makes me really, that kind of, yes, makes me a bit nervous. So I'm gonna look at the clear list now. I wasn't expecting all those to clear necessarily. Okay, Prenatal, Persona, Animus, Trickster, Shadow, Great Mother, Separation, Uniform, Dimly, Calmness. Okay. Dimly. We're not all the way through yet. Let me look at, we're already in Examine. Interesting. So Calmness. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. You're gonna keep going through this entire second pass just to sweep this stuff out. But Calmness has something in it that didn't trigger. Oof. Okay, that's gonna bite me in the butt later. Okay. Yeah, like now I know I didn't trigger something, but then I don't know what to do about it. Like, I'm just gonna, yes. I'll do examine the bed. I decided to check out the bed. I removed the pillow and the covers. The white sheets were spotlessly fresh and clean. And then this happened. I'm just gonna go through these. This scene's called Break Time. Tell her I'm not for you, Kawakokoro.
内海さん、悪いんだけど今の俺は。
じゃあ今は有機道くんなの？
Tsumi-san, I'm sorry, I'm not Fuyukawa Kokoro right now. What, then you are Yukido-kun now?
あ、
Yes.
あらごめんなさいね。
Okay. Pick lunch style, because that's the
で
opposite.
きれば昼食風の方がいいな。
If possible, I'd rather it be
朝
lunch
からまだ
style.
何も口にしてないから、どちらかといえばボリュームのあるものが食べたいんだ。
I haven't eaten anything since I woke up, but if I had to choose, I'd like to eat something filling. Wait, are we saying that In Japan, lunch is considered filling and breakfast is not. That's kind of backwards. Okay.
ボリュームのあるものね。
Something filling.
例えばトーストとベーコンエッグとツナサラダとか。
For example, toast, bacon, and eggs with tuna salad. I guess it's not really a choice, is it?
は？それって典型的な朝食用のメニューだと思うんだけど。
Huh? Doesn't that sound more like a typical breakfast menu?
そう？でも量がたくさんあればいいわけでしょ、ユキド君は。
Really? So you're fine with anything as long as there's a lot of it, right, Yukido-san? Kido-kun? It's like, would you like a giant bowl of licorice? I looked deep into Utsumi's eyes. She sheepishly looked away.
なんだよ、最初から決まってたんじゃないか、献立。
What's up with that? You had the menu decided from the start.
ねバレた？
You found me out.
決まってたんだけど踏ん切りがつかなかったのよ。
I had, but I wasn't very attached to the
みん
decision.
なに文句言われるんじゃないかと思って。
I was worried that everyone would complain about
だ
it.
からユキド君に決めてもらおうと思ったの。
That's why I thought I'd have you decide for me, Yukido-kun, but you didn't.
あなたが朝食風って答えてくれたら私のせいじゃなくなるでしょ。
If you'd answered breakfast style, it would have been out of my hands, right? She said with a grin. She seemed really happy somehow. I found myself thinking more about her behavior than the conversation.
何か言いたそうね。
Is there something you want to say?
いや、別に。
No, not
分
really.
かったわ。
I
そ
understand.
れじゃあユキド君のためにスープもつけてあげる。
In that case, I'll make some soup just for you, Yukido-kun.
パンプキンスープ得意なのよね、私。
Pumpkin soup is my specialty, you see.
パ
I'm gonna pick have
じゃ
some.
あ、一杯だけ。
Okay, I'll have a cup. I accepted her suggestion and took a seat. She removed the pot from the coffee maker. As I stared absently in her direction, I...
内海さんはコーヒー好きなの？
Do you like coffee, Utsumi-san? I pitched another topic straight down the line to her. She answered,
毎朝欠かさず飲んでるわ。
Yes, I drink it every morning without
適
fail.
度な量のカフェインは体にいいのよ。
Moderate amounts of caffeine are good for the body, you know.
疲労回復、覚醒作用、それから利尿効果。
It seems like a repeat, but it doesn't let me skip it. Recovering from fatigue and awakening effect, diuretic
体内の
properties.
老廃物を速やかに代謝してくれるからお肌にもいいんだって。
It quickly metabolizes the body's waste products, so they say it's good for the skin, too.
へえ、そうなんだ。
Yeah,
ミ
really?
ルクはどうする？入れる？入れない？
How about milk? I'm gonna try to put
Ah,
some in here.
頼むよ。
Yes, please. And I reply, she poured some fresh cream into the cup.
はい、どうぞ。
Okay, here you go. The cup made a pleasing little thump as she set it on the table before me. White steam rose from the creamy brown liquid within it. I brought the rim of the cup to my lips. Tastes great. The happy smile spreading across her face, she...
ユキド君は何時に起きたの？
What time did you wake up, Yukido-kun? Asked that as she sat down opposite me.
6時半ぐらいかな。
Around 6:30, I guess. I returned the cup to the table and answered.
6時半？
I took another sip of coffee.
一応念のため。
I finished the remaining coffee in one gulp and stood up
あ
to leave.
そうだ。
Okay. Then we're gonna try. Whoops. Oops. I did that again.
.じゃあ、
Okay. Save this. Here. Yes. Okay. Then
Yeah.
don't put any milk
入
in.
れないでくれ。
No thanks, I'll pass. At my reply, she placed the container of fresh cream she had just poured for herself back into its place.
はい、どうぞ。
Okay, here you go. The cup made a pleasing little thump as she set it on the table before me. White steam rose from the dark liquid within it. Okay, I'm actually going to overwrite the save here with saying he likes coffee black and see if that changes things down the line. Yeah, I'm going to overwrite that. But now after I overwrite that, I'm going to do a load of this break time. I say
Yep.
don't have any.
And
See if that just goes through as... Go doing a little bit of a depth search here. Okay. Go back to this one. Yes. Say
できれば
breakfast style. See if there's another choice I missed after breakfast style. This is... Okay, I have to do some saves here. Say, have some... Put some in. Okay. I'm actually going to pause the encoding here, actually. And I start going again. Okay, so... Have
一
some...
杯だけ
Don't put any in, I think is what I was doing here. Okay. And then... I
Yep.
don't have any...
And
Okay, cool. So that just runs through the same as well. Just making sure. I'm gonna load. Mind education, yes.
俺は本当に
They say I didn't climb it. No, maybe I didn't climb it after all. Utsumi said I fell from the sky together with a lightning bolt, but she never said anything about falling from the clock tower. I just arbitrarily imagined that. Yet if I had to fall from somewhere, that somewhere would surely have to be the clock tower. Right, that moment, okay. Right, so I was up on the clock tower. The sound of the bell awoke the memory in me. Nevertheless, I couldn't recall the true form of the shadow that the lightning had illuminated. As though it had been filtered out, that one essential bit of information alone was gone from my head. This scene is called Virgin Ceiling. Okay. What's the backlog of this? Okay, I'm gonna say don't turn around. I didn't turn around. To Meizumi. You'd think I'd fall for a third-rate trick like that? My silent back clearly declared, I'm not Fuyukawa. After a while...
勇気道くんなの？
Yukiro-kun, then. Had I finally reached her, Lynn asked me that in a probing tone. I... Overwrite this one, actually. I'm gonna say... Do turn around at first. Turn around.
ほら、やっぱりね。
There, just like I thought. Lynn giggled triumphantly. And as I looked at that smile, I thought, damn it, I've been
リ
had.
俺はその
Lynn, I...
弁解無用よ。
Your justifications won't do any good.
これであなたが悟でないことは証明された。
This proves that you are not Satoru. I'm going to pause again. Okay, on pausing, although I accidentally skipped to the next line. So anyway, the next line is because I've never once called him Yukido-kun.
ちょっと待ってくれよ、リン。
Wait a moment,
そんなことは
Lin.
知ってる。知ってるんだ。
I know that, I really do.
知ってるのになぜか。
I know that, but
なぜ
somehow...
か何
Somehow what? I was at a loss for words. Why did I turn around? Even I didn't know why. All I can say is that my body moves on its own.
残念だったわね、冬川さん。
Too bad for Yukawa-san.
ああ、この際だから勇気道くんって呼んであげようかしら。
Should I call you Yokido-kun now?
人を騙すのって意外と難しいのよね。
It's harder than you thought to trick someone else, isn't it?
特に相手が頭の切れる人間だとなおさら。ね。
Especially someone with such a sharp mind, see? Lynn smiled at me, elated with her success. As frustrated as it is, I can do nothing but admit my defeat. Even I now realize that the path of action I chose was a mistake. To me, who lost his outward Yukido Satoru-ness, my speech and mannerisms were the only way to show I'm me. In short, now that I lost the body of Yukido Satoru, it's more important than ever that I behave as Yukido Satoru should. This is by far more difficult than tricking another person or anything else like that, because it's almost like I have to do an imitation of myself. Well, that's what I think. What the hell is this inner Yukido Satoru-ness? My meanness. There's a fable about the centipede who loses his ability to walk straight when he tries not to step on his feet, which I feel that my current situation closely resembles. I feel like the more I try to think about my meanness, the more it diminishes. I wonder how they wrote meanness in Japanese. What a pain this is. It's really tricky. Thinking about this had tired me out, so I unsteadily lowered myself onto one of the nearby log chairs. Okay. So we're gonna load this virgin ceiling. Don't turn around. I still refused to turn around. I almost fell into her trap, but I noticed it in time. That was a leading question. If I turn around after being called Yokido-kun, then it would all be over. Because she never called me Yokido-kun, not once. Satoru is the name she calls me. Although she herself hates being referred to without any honorifics, Lynn always called me that. So I didn't move. I wonder what kind of expression she had on her face, but I couldn't turn around.
よく仕込まれてるのね。
You've been taught
誰に
well.
調教されたの？
Who trained you? She's trying that card now, huh? By saying something to rub me the wrong way, she's trying to expose my true character. Quite a skillful move. But of course, I pretended I couldn't hear her. There was a short silence, and finally... Satoru? For a moment I hesitated.
悟、聞こえないの？
Satoru, can you hear me? If I don't react now, all I've done up until now will be for nothing. Though I still had my doubts, I casually turned around.
面白い子ね。
You're quite an interesting girl. As Lynn shook her head as though in
その
self-derision,
心意気だけは認めてあげるわ。
I'll concede that you've got
よ
spirit.
ほどの覚悟がなければ、ここまで貫き通せないもんね。
If not for your great resolution, you'd never have made it this far. She laughed happily to herself as she smoothed the stray hair behind her ear. I hadn't seen that cheerful, smiling face in a long time. I really missed that smile. She still doesn't believe I'm Satoru, but I thought it was fine anyway, because I had the chance to see that bright smile again. Her smile had a certain charm. It wiped all my anxiety and fear away. It were just a pity that this smile was hers. The smile of hers was such a rare sight. But maybe it's because it's so rare that it's also so charming.
ねえ、ご飯まだなの？
Hey, what about
お
lunch?
腹ペコペコなんですけど。
I'm starving up here. Lynn called down to the storeroom below.
ああ、今行くよ。
Yeah, we're coming
ち
right
ょっ
up.
と倉庫を片付けてたんだ。
We're just tidying up a bit.
たく、どんくさいわよね。
God, you're slow.
倉庫の整理だったら後でできるじゃない。ねえ。
Can't you do all that later? Lynn propped her crossed legs up on the log chair and tapped an impatient rhythm against it with the high heel of her shoe. Roll. Okay. I'm going to save that. Save that one. Actually, then load this one. And do turn around the first time and see if there's an extra choice that can come up here. No. Okay. Load this one. Yes.
一番がいい人
I'm gonna say don't answer.
はい
Me.
はいはいはいはいはいはい
Me.
それじゃあ一番元気が良かったユニくんに決定
Well, then first prize goes to contestant with the most energetic answer, Unika.
やった
Yes, I did.
ちょっと待ちなさいよ私が先に返事したじゃない
Just wait just a minute. I clearly replied before he did.
僕は早いもん勝ちなんて一言も言ってないが
I never once said that I picked the fastest one. Now did I?
元気のいいやつが優先
Those with the most energy take precedence.
これ山の常識
This is the basic rule of mountains.
嘘つかないでよ
No, that's actually backwards, but okay,
Do
don't
you
lie. Well, I don't know about that
こういっ
meaning.
た非常時には体力のない子供や女性が優先されるのが常識でしょ
In a time of crisis, it's common sense to prioritize women and children with low stamina, right? Like, the child.
今なんて
What'd you say just now?
だから体力のない子供や女性が
I said women and children with low stamina.
あ
まあそういうわけだ眉住さん
Well, that's how it is,
子
Mayazumi-san.
供が1番女性は2番な
Children go first and women second, okay?
ずるいわよそんなの
That's not
日本
fair.
国憲法第14条すべて国民は法の下に平等であって
Article 14 of the Constitution of Japan. All of the people are equal under the law. The weird thing about that is there's a tendency for me to not believe that. And the reason why is because the phrase equal protection under the law is found in the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. Is it? And so there's an association with that phrase with the number 14 already. So if that really is the Article 14 in the Constitution of Japan, that's a funny coincidence. But anyway.
はいはいユニくんお湯を注ぐよ
Here you go, Unikun. Here comes your hot water. Yomogi spoke in a soft, coaxing voice, completely blocking out Lin's continued
あ
assertions.
りがとうございますよもぎさん
Thank you so much, Yomogi-san. Uni answered with sparkling eyes.
礼儀正しくって気分がいいな
So nice to be thanked so politely.
さてと次は
The next up is, after we finished pouring the water, Yomogi glanced back and forth between me and Lin and
有機
said,
道くんだな
Yukido-kun, I guess.
俺
And me, I'm not a woman.
なんでよなんでこの女が先なのよ
Why is she going
女
first?
性だからだ
Because she's a woman.
私だって女性よ
I'm a woman too.
あれそうだったのか
Is that right?
くっそこの山オタク
Damn, this mountain maniac. Stifling his laughter, he tilted the kettle towards my mug. The gruel base began to dissolve. The ingredients, which reminded me of baby food, all blended together into an even broth, and the rice gruel gradually filled the mug. Without saying a word, I set it down in front of
俺
Lin.
は最後でいいよ
I don't mind going last.
いいの
What, is it okay?
ああ俺は男だからな
Yeah, I'm a guy after all. Lin and Yomogi stared at me uncomprehendingly. I forcefully pushed the mug towards Lin, then sat down on a log chair at the nearby table. I placed the mug of rice gruel in front of me. Although Yomogi had told me that I should try to make myself eat something, I really had no appetite. The other three were silently okay, this is where it's going through. Reflection. This
筋
one.
肉増強剤の乱用によって肉体が肥大化してしまった受験用のだるま。
The Daruma, whose body was stolen to grotesque proportions due to abuse of steroids, undergoing a physical examination. Or something. Okay. Polyhedron. I'm gonna go back to the title. Title. Yes. Yes. Okay, and look at the clear list and see. I have a feeling that something got missed in there. But it's a complicated combination of things that made it, so I don't think I'm gonna go back for it. Just gonna confirm my suspicion. Okay, something missing in dimly. Yeah, something missing in reflection 1. Like, yeah, I was suspicious that would happen. Okay. It's gonna be hard to find again, but polyhedron, yes. And I've got first I'll go to Uni's room. I head over to Uni's room. Come in. When I knocked, I heard Uni's voice from within. Okay, so this is skippable. Say, I told you I'm just killing time. I'll put a save here. I
だ
told
か
you I'm
ら
just.
暇つぶしだって言っただろ。
I told you I'm just killing time.
本当にそれだけ？
Is that really it?
Oh.
Yeah. Uni tilted his head, unconvinced. And I felt like there was something about Uni's answer that didn't make sense either. The Uni there and the Uni here. Asking me if he remembers the names of Yomogi and Lin.
よもぎ誠治、眉住凛、
Yomogi Seiji, Mayuzumi Lin.
この二人の名前に聞き覚えはないか。
Do you remember hearing those names in the past? Uni's eyebrows furrowed as he scratched his chin. He quickly shook his head, an expression of dissatisfaction rising to his face.
誰なの？それ。
Who are they? Going by his words and body language, he didn't appear to be trying to deceive me. It seemed like he really didn't know either of them. In other words, this means that the Uni here and the Uni at the shelter cabin are two different people. The one right here in front of me isn't the person who was found by the rescue team on January 17th a year ago. Now wait a second. Then what about their names? Why did the two of them have the exact same name? And then there's that face. The way they looked, I could only think of them as the same person. Beset by intense confusion, I scratched my head. But I somehow suppressed that impulse and continued thinking. Okay, I've got it. Let's assume that Uni here and Uni there are two different people. That leads us to an inevitable question. I couldn't help
な
but
あ
ask.
ユニ、
Hey, Uni.
ちょっと待った。
Wait a second. Uni interrupted me mid-sentence.
まだ質問続けるつもりなの？
How many more questions do you have for me?
最後に一つだけって言ったじゃん。
You said it was this one last question before.
ああ、そうだったな。
That's true.
なんだか取り調べを受けてるみたいで気分が悪いんですけど。
It feels like I'm being interrogated somehow, and I don't like it very much.
僕、なんか悪いことしたかな？
Have I done
Yeah.
something wrong?
全然。
No, not at all.
ユニは素直でいい子だ。
You're a good, honest kid, Uni. An unsatisfied expression appeared on his face.
こう考えてくれないかな。
You can think about it like this.
これは俺の病気を治すためだって。
This is to help me cure my sickness.
サトルの病気を？
Your sickness, Satoru. Yep.
だから俺を助けると思って。な。
So think of it as helping me out, okay?
それじゃあ本当に一つだけだよ。
Then I'll answer it, but only if it really is the last question. I let my face loosen into a grin and patted him on the head.
簡単な質問なんだ。答えてくれ。
It's an easy question, so please answer it.
どうぞ。
Go
Uni.
ahead. Uni.
お前はどうして
Why
ここにいる
are you here? Okay. But Uni said that he didn't know anything about Mount Agakura or the people trapped there. What does that mean? Okay. Uni, who calmed down, was now resting on his own bed. I wanted to stay with Uni for a little while longer if possible, but that wasn't an option. There were still things I needed to do. With that nagging thought in the back of my mind, I parted with Uni. I'd already decided where I was going next. I opened the door to the room. Entering, I saw Inabushi Keiko sitting on top of the desk. I'm actually gonna save this. Like, not at a choice, which is complicated, but whatever. Okay. Let's go back to polyhedron. No. Load. Back to this one. Yes. Oops. Load.
なんでそんなこと聞くの？
Okay.
だから
I did this one. Asking why is that sphere?
あの女、内海とかいう女の手下でしょ。
Okay, so now it's load. This one. First style. Oh, fine. Doesn't matter. And then hit this one. And then save this down here. And then here we go. Load.
Uni. お前はどうした
This one, right? Entering, I saw Inabushi Keiko sitting on top of the desk. She looked towards me, both her feet dangling in the air.
誰？
Who are you? She said. Who are you? Even after dispensing with greetings, for her first question, to first question me like that was awfully
お
sudden.
前俺のこと知らないのか
Hey, don't you know me? Yanking idly on her long hair, she answered.
思い出した思い出した。
I remember.
そういえば、昨日会ったよね。
We met yesterday, come to think of it.
あの女、内海とかいう女の手下でしょ。
That woman, you're the underling of that Utsumi woman, aren't you? The contents of this conversation aside, I was taken aback by her attitude and manner of speech. She seemed like a completely different person compared to the girl from last night. The girl who looked up to me with pleading eyes. There wasn't much of a trace of her anymore.
名前は？
And you are? She asked. My mouth was frozen shut. I couldn't answer.
ねえ、聞いてんでしょ？
Hey, you're listening, right?
ノックもしないで勝手に人の部屋に入っ
This is gonna run through, right? Your name is? Okay. I'm gonna do the opposite.
犬伏恵子だろ
Inabushi Keiko, right?
犬伏恵子？
Inabushi Keiko.
誰よそれ。
Who the heck is that? Right. And again, the plot doesn't really explain how she, knows that she's supposed to introduce herself as Hotori. One theory you could throw out there is she ended up swapping to Hotori's body, right? And this was after... The way the swap order works, I believe, with Satoru is... Oh, dear. Yeah, it goes from Kokoro to fetus to Satoru, right? So in Kaiko's case, it would go Hotori in Hotori's body, fetus in Hotori's body, Keiko in Hotori's body. So you get fetus in Hotori's body, fetus gets up and wanders out of the plane, you get Keiko in Hotori's body, Keiko finds the body out in the middle of the blizzard all frozen, is like, what's going on here, right? So Keiko, then she like finds the ID card of the woman she is, and it says on it that the woman's name is Tsuchukaze Hotori. And then somehow she figures out this is a body swap, and then she keeps introducing herself as the person whose name is on the ID card of who she swapped with, not realizing that, thinking that maybe she could make the swap look permanent. Not realizing that Hotori was mute. That being said, that would mean that she'd be much more accepting of the notion and the reality of a body swap compared to the main characters. The main characters are like, what's going on here? Right? Like, way more adaptable to that. But anyway, who the heck is that?
昔の彼女の名前か何か？
Your old girlfriend or something?
私の名前は鈴影ほとり。
My name is Tsuchukaze
間
Hotori.
違えないでくれる？
How could you get it wrong like that? Hearing that from her, I suddenly remember something. Utsumi and Yuni had called her by the name Hotori. In other words, that meant that right now, the dominant personality of the girl in front of me was Tsuchukaze Hotori. However, I found something unusual about that. Why did she know about Inabushi Keiko? Shouldn't she know the name written in her own family register? Still harboring my doubts, I said this in the meantime.
そうか。
I
君は
see.
ほとりなのか。
I see. So you are Hotori. Yup. She nodded immediately. If I tried to assert the idea that you should be Inabushi Keiko as fact here and now, nothing would come of it. Though I still had my apprehensions about her condition, I decided to call her Hotori.
で、サトルは何をしに来たの？
And what did you come here for, Satoru?
いや、ちょっと。
Okay. And then, are you angry? What am I supposed to be angry about? Wondering how you'd react if I pretended not to know you. Just basic curiosity, yes, Satoru. That face, are you angry? Say a
ちょっ
bit.
とな。
A bit.
やだやだやだ。
No, no,
怒ん
no.
ないで。
Don't get angry. Okay, I'm gonna pause encoding here for a reason. Okay, I'm back, but again, I skipped to the next line, so by accident. So, and then I skipped again. Don't get angry. And then this line, was said in certain kind of tones, so I'm gonna try to repeat it here.
ごめんなり。なのであり。
There you go. She clapped her hands and dipped her head in a courtly bow. Unsurprisingly, I was having a hard time figuring out how to deal with her. I crossed my arms and looked out the window, but she still remained there with her head bowed. It let me skip for some reason. So I'm gonna pick, of course, the opposite choice as we did originally. We're gonna pick refuse.
ふざけるのもいい加減にしろ。
Stop screwing around. I thrust her away and stood up straight.
何考えてんだか知らないが、からかうのはやめろ。
I don't know what's running through your head, but you better stop playing with
す
me.
べての男が本能だけで生きてると思ったら大間違いだぞ。
If you believe that all men are easy to manipulate, you've got another thing coming.
少なくとも俺はそんなやつじゃない。
At the very least, I'm not that kind of guy.
遊びで誰とでも寝るようなやつじゃないんだ。
I'm not the kind of guy who'd just fool around with just anyone. On the bed, lying face up, after I'd snapped at her. He suddenly laughed out loud.
お腹痛い。お腹痛いよ。
My stomach hurts. It hurts. She writhed with laughter on the bed. I was absolutely dumbstruck.
しむ。笑いじむ。
I'm gonna die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die laughing.
全ての男が本能だけで生きてると思ったら大間違いだぞ。
You believe that all men are easy to manipulate. We've got another thing coming. Hehehehe.
アホすぎる。
Stupid, stupid, too stupid, too stupid. But she didn't use baka, though.
なーに真に受けちゃってんだかね。本当にもう。
Just what were you thinking about, honestly?
ラマーズ法。
The Maze style. I left her rolling around on the bed and returned to my room. Hotori's behavior today. Perhaps she'd purposely treated me with scorn, but for some reason I wasn't angry at all. Rather, I just felt sorry for her. It's clear that she's mentally ill. At first glance, she appeared to be just an ordinary selfish girl, but it wasn't as simple as that. As I watched her make fun of others, only to fall down laughing at the hilarity of it, I could see through her facade to the deep-rooted sickness it hid. Suzukate Hotori. Would I be able to save her? I couldn't stop thinking that. Time passed. Soon it was 4 p.m. I returned to my room to throw myself down on the bed, deep in thought. Okay, this scene's called Old Wise Man. Scene's called Seized. Okay, we're gonna save this. And actually gonna go back into polyhedron again. Oh, I have to load here. Load. Okay. I'm gonna go to Inabushi's first. See if we get new text doing this. We're gonna do the opposite choices as the original. Fuse, unlike the original, my original run through. However, I couldn't go on thinking about her forever. There were things I had to do. Okay, I already decided where I was going next. In order to clear my head, I took a deep breath and stood in front of the door. Do the opposite choice I did. Do the opposite choice that I did, or next it's the same choice, not the opposite one. Whatever, it probably won't matter there. Okay, I'm gonna put a save here that I'm gonna overwrite later. On seized, yes. You go to the title and see if I got everything in that particular scene. Polyhedron, I believe is what it's called. So polyhedron. Okay. Nope, we're at 98 on polyhedron. Great. Well, close enough for now. We are one line removed. Continue. Yes. Instinctively I stand my ground. Reflexively, I kicked off from the floor and launched myself toward the shadow. My actions may have caught it by surprise, but it took a stance that revealed its bewilderment. This is my chance. If I can use this opening to disarm it, I grabbed it for its right arm. The moment I extended my arms, an unbearable pain ran through the left one. I'd forgotten about my injury. An overwhelming pain sent me staggering, and I stumbled right in the direction of the silhouette. We fell in a tangle on the floor, and a desperate struggle ensued. And soon... Gah. A piercing pain ran through my abdomen. Hot, burning hot pain. Instantly, nausea overcame me. I felt vomit welling up in my throat. I voided a large quantity of something onto the floor. Was I stabbed? My vision blurred, my sense of balance disappeared. As if I were melting into the darkness, slowly I collapsed. Before long, the pain began to dull. My senses slowly ceased to operate, and gradually I felt nothing at all. No, within the darkness I saw that shadow, darker than the night with my own eyes. And just before I could get the words out, the lips of the shadow obstructed mine. Long hair fell across my face. That was the last thing I ever saw. It's like, confirmed, not Uni. I think Utsumi is the stabber, right? Yes, save that. So, let's see what that ending is called. Killed by the mysterious shadow is what that's called. Both on one missing here at 21, which is interesting. So, according to my notes here, that should trigger an ending as Kokoro. So let's do that. New game as Kokoro.
やーちゃいか
Blue. It's a long ways into Kokoro, so we're gonna have to go a long ways in, but... Again, I don't really know how to skip the cutscene. I could edit it out if I were not lazy. I could do an encoding pause. Just use the right arrow button on your keyboard. Skip 5 seconds over and over again to get through the opening cutscene.
まあ知らないよ今何を見つめるの 「
Okay, I'm gonna do a save here because I want to be able to skip the all the exposition stuff next time I do Kokoro. Okay, I'm gonna put a save at this spot and overwrite this previous save at 60. Yes. We're gonna do press her harder about her relationship with Satoru, specifically. put a save here and overwrite my save at 60. Say, voice my objection. Pick overwrite again. Now let's see if we get stabbed. Yep, okay. When I came to my senses, I was engulfed in darkness. I couldn't see anything and couldn't hear anything. I couldn't smell anything. I couldn't feel anything. What? I couldn't make a sound, even my voice was gone. I found myself in a darkness so total, it was as if an even further dark blackness had been unfolding into the dark of night. I had no sense of up or down. I didn't know whether I was facing upward, downward, or even if I was awake or asleep. Nothing was touching me, as if I was floating in zero gravity. I couldn't feel the clothes I was wearing. I couldn't move my limbs. I didn't even know where my arms and legs were. It wasn't hot, nor was it cold. I couldn't feel air around me at all. I wasn't breathing. I couldn't feel my heart beating. Huh? What is this? 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 Well, apparently it's being a disembodied soul. What in the world is going on? What has happened to my body? What has happened to me? What happened? Is there anyone here? Anyone? 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 Please, someone, answer me. Answer me. Tell me. Answer me. The darkness in front of me suddenly vanished and my field of vision was enveloped in light. A floating feeling. What an incredible sensation. Even though I wasn't able to feel anything, I can sense my body floating. 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 It feels so pleasant. Such a safe, relaxing sensation. It's the first time I felt this way. Whatever. It doesn't matter anymore. Let's just leave everything as it is now. And just then, I caught a glimpse of it for only a moment. To be more exact, the body that I entered. Satoru's body. Satoru's body had collapsed, lying face up in the living area. He may have been stabbed using cutlery, as there was an enormously large amount of blood flowing out of his chest. His body didn't move an inch. Satoru is dead. And so am I. I see. Satoru was killed by someone. Killed. Without shedding a tear or letting out a single sob, I cried. And cried, and cried, and cried. And before long, my world faded away. Yep. So if I look at the clear list, I will see I now have Satoru stabbed to death after a transfer end, and Scars Taste Like Paranoia is now at 100%. Cool. Okay, let's continue. Whoops. Let's continue. Load. Seized. Okay, we're gonna overwrite this one, right? So this is the seized I want to load from. Instinctively, I run away. This scene's called Receive. We're gonna overwrite the second entry on seized. Yes. I'm gonna say I believe the article. I would most likely believe what the article said, even if I did have a future date written on it. I don't think I'd be able to laugh it off so carelessly. If you ask me why, it's because the words "the three bodies are those of the survivors of the crash" are written there. And among the names of those three people were my own, as well as those of two others from the shelter cabin. And on top of that, even Uni's name appeared there. This meant that they were correct in saying that these four specific people survived the plane crash. And therefore, there is only two possible explanations. Either the newspaper was from the future, or was from the past but written by someone with the abnormal ability of foresight. But no matter which was true, it didn't change the fact that the first half of the article was dead on. In that case, it was only human nature to believe that the rest of the article would come true as well. It looks like I'm going to die on January 17th. If it was me, that's what I'd think. So Yomogi, Lin, and Kokoro are probably thinking that as well. On the surface, they're doing their best to appear calm, but in their hearts, I'm sure they're all beset by an excruciating uneasiness. On top of that... Okay, then continue. So what's the context of this one? Leave me alone and okay, what's this beaver side? I see.
邪魔したな。
Sorry for bothering you. Whispering that to her, I got up and left. No matter what I said to her right now, it would probably be useless. I could tell that she wasn't exactly of sound mind at the moment. At times like these, there's nothing I can do but leave her alone. Even as I thought that, it continued to bother me. When I reached the window, I turned around again. Perhaps she felt my eyes on her, but she looked up, her eyes met mine.
何なのよまったく
What do you want, damn it? She sighed, a gloomy pallor over her face. She got up and walked past me, the hole in the floor near the doorway. She disappeared through it as if trying to avoid me. Reflection 2 is what this is called. No new text in Reflection 2. Crucifies Rat, I know we're not going to get anything new because I saw it's 100%ed in the clear list. Okay. Say snowboard.
スノボーってのはどうだ？
How about snowboard?
この建物の西側にちょっとした丘があるだろ？
Isn't there a small hill to the west of the building?
まあ傾斜も高さも大したことないが、軽く遊ぶぐらいなら十分だと思う。
Well, it's not that high or steep, but it should be enough to have fun on.
スノーボードか。
Snowboarding, huh?
やりたいやりたいスノーボード
Let's do that. Let's do that
ちょ
snowboarding.
っと待ってよ
Wait a minute. That's not the choice you're supposed to make.
よく考えてみて
We didn't write that scene. Think about it for a second, will you?
この施設にそんなものが
Would this facility have anything we could use? There's no way it would. I searched every nook and cranny of the basement storeroom, but I didn't find any boards, boots, snow boots, or even anything that could be used as a stand-in. Obviously, this facility wasn't designed for amusement or anything like that. I realized how silly my own idea had been. Why had snowboarding even come to mind? Because you gave me that choice. Did I think it was a ski resort or something? This was a special psychiatric institution for isolation and care of the mentally ill. I wasn't 100% positive about it, but that was all I could recall. But then, what if my memory was wrong? I began to think about that as I stood in the corner of the storeroom. There were neither medical staff nor guards here. If you think about it, there's no way this could be a special psychiatric facility. Or perhaps in spite of all that, if this facility really was Svea after all, I could only think that something extremely unusual had happened. Maybe because of this unusual event, the staff suddenly had to leave us behind or something. It wasn't like an answer would appear if I kept thinking about it. I placed my thoughts on hold and resumed my search of the storeroom.
Satoru! あった
Satoru, any look? Yuni appeared from behind a shelf.
いや
Nope. I answered, shaking
だ
my
よ
head.
ね
Guess not,
こ
huh?
んなとこにスノーボードなんてあるわけないよね
No way there'd be a snowboard lying around in a place like this. And just
これ
then,
なら見つけたけど
I found this though. A voice came from behind me. Turning around, I saw Hotori standing there. A ball was spinning on the tip of her finger. NBA. With that decided, the four of us split into two teams for our basketball game. After trying to balance everyone's strengths equally, the results were okay. Okay, this is gonna be a whole mess of like breath searching. So prepare for some tedium here. So first we're gonna do all tops. Choose the 2PL. The ball was swallowed into the net.
よっしゃー
Alright. Unthinkably, I clenched my fist victoriously. I turned to Hotori, wanting her to see it. Hotori snorted and looked away. Score 19-20. That brought us to the final round. Score 21-20.
ねえどうしようどうしよ
Play it safe for
う
2PL.
本当にそれでいいの
Is that really
2点じゃ
okay?
もし入っても22点だから多分すぐほとりに逆転されちゃうよ
With a 2-pointer, we'll only have 22 points even if it goes in, and Hotori would probably reverse it right away.
大丈夫だ
It's okay.
こっちのスコアが22点になれば
If we can
あ
get
いつ
to
は
20,
必ずスリーポイントを狙ってくるはず
if we get to 22, she'll definitely go for a 3-pointer.
そうしなければ俺が2点を取って彼女のチームは負けてしまうからな
Because if she doesn't and I get 2 points, that would mean her team
小鳥
loses.
にできるだけプレッシャーを与えるためにもここは2ポイントの方で言ってくれ
To pressure Hotori as much as possible, you need to score 2 points here.
わかった
Okay, I've got it. Man, how do I-
21対2確かに私たちの方が1点負けてるけど
21-22. It's true that we're losing by 1 point.
でもここで私がスリーポイントを決めればあっという間に逆転ってことになる
But if I manage a 3-pointer here, we'll regain the lead before you can blink.
喜ぶのはまだ早いんじゃない
Isn't it a little too early to celebrate?
さ悪いけどこれ入っちゃうから
Sorry, but this one's going
どうか
in.
な
But Hotori was calculated for that in advance. Following the trajectory of the ball, the orange hoop was like a large open mouth ready to swallow it. A magnificent bank shot. The ball, which had bounced off the backboard, jumped into a hoop as if sliding.
ああやっぱり入っちゃったか
Ah, went in
ちょっ
after
とは
all.
手加減してあげようと思ったんだけどな
Even though I was going to take it easy on you guys.
実力って隠せないもんだね
There's just no hiding true skill, huh? The echoes of her boasting were dispersed by the
た
wind.
く嫌味なやつだ
Jeez, that's annoying.
でも平気だよサトル
But we're fine, Satoru.
サトルが決めてくれれば僕らの勝ちなんだから
If you could make the last shot, it's
頼
our
んだ
win.
よサトル
Counting on you, Satoru.
おう任しとけい
Alright, leave it to me. Score 24-22, a 2-point difference. Of course, I didn't hesitate for a moment over whether to go for the 2PL or accept a draw. My goal was victory. I headed for the 3PL with ball in hand. There's no way I'll let myself miss. With renewed, but it didn't go in.
マジかよ。
Are you serious? Without touching the hoop, net, or the backboard, the ball dropped to the ground. As though the target I'd aimed at had in fact shot me down as I watched. And the ball fell straight down, to land directly below the basket, throwing up a spray of white snow.
や
as
っ
it
ちまっ
did.
た。
Now I've done it. This discouraged mutterer escaped me before I realized.
ああ、負けちゃった。
We lost. Uni squatted down and poked dejectedly at the surface of the snow. I walked over to him
ごめんな。
and... Sorry. I
いいよ
apologized.
別に。
It's okay, really.
サトルのせいじゃないもん。
It wasn't your fault,
僕
Satoru.
がもうちょっと上手ければ。
If I'd been just a little bit
ユ
better.
ニ、
Uni,
お前っていいやつだな。
you're a good guy, you know that. We had lost, but it felt like the bond between Uni and I had deepened all the more. Wearing the same frowns, we laughed bitterly together. Uni stuck out his palm. I gripped it firmly and pulled him up. Uni sprang energetically to his feet, almost topping. Match result 24 to 22. With a 2-point difference, Uni and I suffered defeat. After the match, Satoru came up to me.
というわけなので、後でお願い聞いてもらうからね。
So this means you have to listen to my request later, okay?
ま、しょうがないな。
Well, not much I can do about it.
約束は約束だし。
A promise is a promise, after all.
じゃあよろしく。
Well then, I'm counting on you. Saying no more, Otori left the basketball court. Fighting back a yawn, she headed back to the main building with her hands nonchalantly clasped behind her head. She didn't look all that pleased. Because I was expecting a taunt or a sneer, that reaction only bothered me a little. As I watched her go, I removed my watch from my pocket. Present time, 12:32 p.m. The sun had just begun to sink into the west. Okay. Let's go back to NBA. No. Okay, load. NBA, yes. Okay, we're gonna do upper.
33番内海か
けなげだな、内海さんは。
Is there a bunch of random stuff that happens in here? Number 33, Utsumi Kelly, here I go. Utsumi-san sure is gallant. Unconsciously remarked as I watched her attentively. She probably won't... Okay. And then, I'm gonna say go for the 3PL.
よし。ここで一発勝負をかけてみるか。
Alright, let's go for the win.
3点の方で行ってみてくれ。
Uni, try the 3-point
本当
line.
にそれでいいの？
Is that really okay?
もしも僕が外しちゃったら、ほとりが3点を決めて4点差。
If I miss and Hotori gets a 3-pointer in, they'll have a 4-point lead.
そしたらその時点で僕らの負けが確定しちゃうよ。
At that point, our loss will be decided, right?
いや、もしユニがミスったとしても、ほとりは3ポイントは狙ってこないと思う。
No, even if you do miss, I don't think Hotori will try for a 3-pointer.
なぜなら、彼女がそれを外せば、俺は2点狙いでいいってことになるからな。
Because if she misses, then I'd only need to try for a 2-pointer next.
あいつは多分、そんな冒険はしないだろ
She probably won't take
う。
that
俺に
risk.
確実に3ポイントを打たせるために、2点の方を選ぶはず。
In order to make me throw a 3-pointer, it'd be better for her to throw a 2-pointer.
つまり、お前が失敗したとしても、勝負が決まるわけじゃないってことだ。
In other words, even if you mess up, the match isn't over yet.
だったら、ここは攻めるべきじゃないか？
In that case, shouldn't we attack here?
わかった。
Okay, I understand. Uni nodded obediently and headed for the 3PL. He stood right in place and set up his shot.
ユニ！落ち着いて投げるんだぞ！
Uni, be calm and take the shot. Voila. And promptly fell into a pile of snow. Uni slumped over, hanging his head. I walked over and pulled him to his feet, as if he'd been hit over the head by the winning home run at
おい、
Koshin.
ユニ！落ち込むのはまだ早すぎるだろ
It's too early to get depressed
う。ほと
like
りが
that.
外せば1点差。
If Otori misses, they'll only have a 1-point
2
lead.
ポイント決めたとしても、
And even if she manages 2 points,
は2ポイント？
2 points,
私3点狙いで行くつもりなんだけどな。
I'm planning on aiming for 3, you know. Yeah?
だって3点入ったらその時点で試合終了ってことになるでしょ。
Because if I can score 3 points, then the match is over, right?
24対20になるんだから。ね、
Since it'll be 24 to 20, right?
私が引き分けなんかに持ち込むはずないじゃん。
No way I'm gonna accept a
こ
draw.
こで一気に決めさせてもらっちゃうもんね。
I'm gonna decide this with one shot.
さあ、分かったらさっさとどいて。
Well, if you get it, hurry up
邪
and
魔だ
move.
から。
You're in my way. Hattori pushed between us and walked to the 3PL.
おとりちゃん
I don't know if we won or lost there, but that was interesting. Okay. Let's try doing another combination of things. Choose the 3PL. In order to reverse the situation, I chose the 3PL. I stood at the line and steadied my breathing. Taking aim, I let the shot go. The net shook. However, it wasn't shaking from the inside, but the outside. The ball had grazed the net and hit the rear support brace. Damn.
少し弱かったか。
A little too weak, huh? Muttering, I snuck a look over at Hattori. She had a triumphant grin on her face. Score 19 to 18. That brought us to the final round. Okay. Okay. Save for 2PL. I'll repeats. Don't know if I won or lost, but it was a repeat nonetheless.
Yoし。
本当にそれでいいの？
Is that really
もし失
okay?
敗したらほとりが2点を決めて5点差。
If I mess up and Hattori gets 2 points, it'll be a 5-point lead.
そしたらその時点で僕らの負けが確定しちゃうよ。
At that point, our loss
だ
will
が
be
それは
decided, right?
ユニが2点取ったとしても同じだ。
That'd still be true even if you got 2 points.
俺たちのビハインドは変わらない。
The fact that we're behind wouldn't
お
change.
とりが3ポイントを決めた時点でゲームセット。
The moment Hattori gets 3 points, it's game over.
だったら、ここは失敗を恐れず3点狙いで。
That's why you shouldn't worry and just try for a 3-pointer here.
わかった。
Okay, I understand.
そう落ち込むなよ、ユニ。まだ負けたわけじゃないんだから。
Don't be depressed.
おとり
Tini.
が外せば3点差。
We haven't lost yet. If Hattori misses, it'll be a 3-point
ドロー
lead.
に持ち込むチャンスは残ってるんだ。
There's a chance it'll end in a draw.
残念だけどそうはいかないと思うよ。
Too bad, but I don't think that's gonna
私
happen.
まだ1回しかミスしたことないんだもん。
I've only missed once so far, after all.
知ってるでしょ。
You get it, right?
私が失敗する確率は8分の1。
The chances that I'll miss, spelled mess, are 1 in 8.
しかも次は2ポイントでいいんだし。
On top of that, I only need another 2-pointer.
もう勝ったも同然だよ。
It's like we've already won.
さあ、分かったらさっさとどいて。
Well, if you get it, then hurry up and move.
邪魔だから。
You're in my way. Hattori shooed Uni and I away from the
おとりちゃん
2PL.
ちょっとかわいそうな気もするけど、これで決めさせてもらうから。
I feel a little bad for you, but I'm gonna end it here.
どうかな？
We'll see about that.
私がミスると思う。
But Hattori had been counting on that. At the end of the ball's trajectory, the orange chip gaped like an open mouth, ready to swallow it. A magnificent bank shot. The ball, which had bounced off the backboard, glided through the hoop.
うわー、やっぱり入っちゃったか。
Went in
ちょっ
after
と
all,
は手
huh?
加減してあげようと思ったんだけどな。実
Same
力
dialogue.
ああ、
ごめんな。
いいよ。サトルの僕が。
ユニ、お前って。
Okay, this is why it didn't let me skip because the score is different. With a huge 5-point difference between our scores, Uni and I suffered a crushing defeat. After the match, Hattori came up to me.
というわけなので、
This means you'll
後
have
で
to
お
listen
願
to
い
my
聞いてもらうからね。
This means you have to listen to my request later, okay?
しょうが約束は約束。
じゃあよろしく。
Okay. We're gonna load this.
ネズミ殺したらなんか罪に問われるわけ？
Sure, it may not be a crime,
確
but
かに罪にはならないが、
sure, it may not be a crime,
で
but
しょ？
right.
でもネズミだって生きてるんだし、
But that rat was a living being.
命ってものはあんな風に粗末に扱っちゃ。
Would you ever kill a cockroach, Satoru? I would. Say I would.
そりゃ確かに殺すけど、
Well, actually, I would kill
で
it,
も
but
昆虫と哺乳類は別物だろ。
insects are one thing and mammals are another, right?
つまり自分に近い生物種は殺さないってことね。
In other words, you wouldn't kill a
じゃあ
creature so
牛とか豚とか鶏とかは？
then you wouldn't kill a creature that's too much like you, right? But then fine, then how about cows or pigs or chickens?
魚とか植物とか微生物とかは殺さない？
Or fish, plants, or microbes? You've never killed one?
殺してないって言える？
Can you say that you've never killed one? Say I
言えるよ。
can. I can.
俺の意志が直接手を下してるわけじゃないからな。
It's not like I've ever willfully killed one.
うわ、それ言っちゃった。
Did you really just say that?
凄まじい詭弁だよね、それ。
That's some impressive sophistry right
ど
there.
こが詭弁だって言うんだ。
Where was the sophistry in that?
あんた、金払って肉も野菜も食ってんでしょ？
Don't you pay money to eat both meat and vegetables?
殺しの代価としてそれを支払ってんじゃないの？
Don't you pay money in exchange for their lives? I remain silent. Okay. Do
生
you
き物を
enjoy,
殺して楽しいか？
do you enjoy killing? Yeah.
見たんだよ。倉庫の隅で液体のかけられたチーズを。
I saw it, the cheese with the liquid poured over it, hidden in the storeroom corner.
ネズミのかじった跡がしっかりと残ってた。
It still had the rat's teeth marks in it.
液体の成分はまだわからないが、おそらく何らかの毒物だろ
I don't know the composition of the liquid, but it's probably poison, right?
う。それをお前はネズミに与えたんだ。
And you gave it to the rat.
ちょっと待ってよ。
Wait a second.
私には何のことだかさっぱり。
I have no idea what
と
you...
ぼけんなって。
Don't play
お前
dumb.
以外にあんなひどいことをする奴はいないんだよ。
There's no one else here who'd do something so
違
cruel.
う。私じゃない。
No, it wasn't me.
じゃあ誰だって言うんだ。
Then who was it then? Inamoto?
知らないよ、そんなこと。
I don't know anything about that. Hattori's expression stiffened. Her pale face began to twitch. She was clearly terrified. Even so, I didn't let up. I kept piling on the pressure. Let me ask you one more
生き物
time.
を殺して楽しいか？
Do you enjoy killing?
何かが苦しむ姿を見るのがそんなに面白いのか？
Is it that much fun for you to watch a living thing suffer?
そうじゃなければネズミにあんなものを与えたりなんてしないもんな。
If not, you wouldn't have fed that stuff to the rat, would you?
違う。
No, no, no.
違う？
No?
だったら毒を盛ったのは何のためだと？
Then why'd you poison it for?
単にネズミを動けなくするため？
Just so it couldn't move?
それとも本当は毒によって殺すつもりだったのが予想に反して生き延びてしまっただけなのか？
Maybe you intended to kill it with poison, but it survived.
なんでそんなこと言うの？
Why are you saying these things?
私じゃないのに。私じゃないのに。
Even though it wasn't me, it wasn't me.
いや違うよな。
Or am I wrong?
やはりお前は娯楽の一環としてそれを行ったんだ。
Or were you just doing it for your own sick amusement after all?
ネズミの命をもてあそぶのが楽しくて仕方ないんだ。
Toying with that rat's life was just so much fun, you just couldn't get enough.
もうやめて。
Stop. Please stop.
聞きたくない。
I don't want to hear this. I don't want to. I don't
お
want
前は
to.
そもそもネズミの命なんてどうとも思ってないんだろ？
Because the life of one little rat means nothing to you in the first place, isn't that right?
優越感に浸りたかったってわけか？
Did you want to indulge your desire for superiority?
のたうち回るネズミを見て その命を支配できるという立場に酔いしれていた。
While watching that rat writhing on the floor, you get drunk on that sense of godlike control over its life.
万能感、自らの優位性を示すことによって、お前は
By affirming your dominance, your omnipotence, you... At that moment... And then it's the same. It's called dependence, huh?
テディベアのことなんだけど、
About that teddy bear. I asked as I picked it up and held it to me.
あ、TB がどうかした？
TB, what about him?
TB？
TB.
そのテディベアの名前だよ。
That's his name.
テディベアだから TB。
He's a teddy bear, so TB.
じゃあこれはユニのものなのか？
He's yours then.
そうだよ。
Yeah, that's right.
セイジが墜落現場から拾ってきてくれたんだ。
Seiji brought him back from the crash site for me.
墜落現場から？
The crash site?
ってことはつまり、よもぎさんはそこに行ったってことか？
Which means Yomogi-san went out there.
今朝の9時半ぐらいだったかな。
I think it was around 9:30 this morning.
ココロンと一緒に出かけて行って。
He and Kokoro went out.
心も？
Kokoro too.
覚えてないの？
You don't remember?
覚えてるわけないだろ？
How could I remember?
その時この体の中にいたのは俺じゃないんだから。
I wasn't the one in this body then.
まあ、そうなのかもしれないけどさ。
Oh, I guess not. I gazed at the teddy bear again. My hand brushed its face. It felt wet to the touch. It's wet. Why? When I asked Uni about it,
それは、ココロンの涙だよ。
those are Kokoro's tears. He answered
コ
quietly.
コロン、ここに帰ってきてから、急に塞ぎ込んじゃって。
After Kokoro came back, she was all gloomy all of a
だ
sudden.
から僕、どうしたのって聞いてみたんだ。
So I tried asking her what
そ
was
したら
wrong.
ココロンは、僕のことを抱きしめて。
And then she hugged me. The cold sensation of her tears permeated my fingertips.
なるほど。そんなことがあったのか。
I see, so something like that happened. Letting those words slip out, I put the teddy bear back down. From how you described it, I can more or less imagine. I took the opposite choice.
心、
Kokoro,
今、お前が生きてる意味をよく考えてほしい。
I just want you to think about what the meaning is of you being alive right
亡くな
now.
った人の命を取り戻すことはできない。
You can't get back the lives of those who are lost.
過ぎてしまったことはどうすることもできないんだ。
There's nothing you can do about things that have already come to pass.
でも、少なくともお前は生きている。
But at least you are still alive.
生き残ったことには必ず意味があるはずだ。
There must be some meaning in the fact that you survived.
俺はそう思う。
That's what I think.
だから、今はただ、お前にできることは何なのか、それだけを考えてほしい。
That's why I want you to just think about what you can do now.
頭のいいお前のことだ。
This is what we are talking about, after all. You are a smart
これ
person.
だけ言えばわかるよな。
You understand what I am saying, right?
心、どうか気を落とさないでくれ。
Kokoro, try not to lose heart.
お前は一人ぼっちなんかじゃないんだ。
You are not alone.
俺はいつでもお前のそばにいる。
I'm always right next to you.
直接触れ合うことはできないけど、
We may not be able to make direct contact, but okay. Skippable from here. Fibber. And pick the opposite thing. Are you hiding something?
お前、何か隠してることないか？
Uni, are you hiding something? I don't have time for chit chat. I decided to go with the frontal attack.
隠してること特にないけど。
Hiding? No, nothing in
本
particular.
当か？
Really?
うん。
Yeah. He didn't seem to be playing dumb, but this wasn't
じゃ
enough.
あ質問を変えよ
So let me ask you something
う。
else.
俺と最初に会った時、お前なんて言ったか覚え
Okay, Sabbath time. I'm probably going to work off of approach Totori, but I want to do don't approach. Well, here we go. I didn't approach her. I didn't know what I'd talk to her about if I did. I couldn't just ask her about the MAO inhibitor straight out. When I pressed her about it this afternoon, Notori became extremely agitated. She was mentally ill. I thought it would be dangerous to excessively stimulate her for no good reason. And besides, what good would come of asking her about the MAO inhibitor? It wouldn't help anything even if I did confirm that Hotori's the one who did it. She'd beaten that rat to death. What's more, she'd already admitted to it of her own free will. Wasn't that more than enough? That's why I decided to avoid Hotori. But even with that said, it's not like I decided where to go next. I wasn't really in the mood to just return to my room either. Then where should I go? I've been talking to Utsumi just a moment before, which left uni, huh? My feet automatically began to take me there. Stars Prince, okay. Upon opening the door, I saw Uni standing in front of the fridge with the glass cup tilted towards his mouth. There was mineral water in it. It looked like he'd just taken a drink.
どうしたのサトル？
Hey, what is it, Satoru? Uni asked, placing his empty glass on the desk. Even though he'd asked, what is it, I didn't have a reply ready. There wasn't anything in particular I wanted to ask him. After all, the consciousness of the Uni here right now belonged to the Uni of 2011. Of course, it would be a different story if it was the Uni of the shelter cabin. I had a mountain of questions for him. However, no matter what I asked this Uni of the past, I didn't think his answers would have much significance. No, but it's not like I can say that for sure, is it? It wasn't like I'd found any concrete evidence that the Uni at Sphia was really the Uni of 2011.
なあユニ
Hey,
つ
Uni.
かぬことを聞くけど
This is kind of abrupt, but I tried throwing out a question like this in order to confirm
今
it.
年って何年だったっけ
What year is it again?
何言っちゃってんだよサトル。
What are you saying, Satoru?
そんなことも忘れちゃったの？
Did you forget that too?
うんまあそう思ってもらっても構わない
Oh, well, I don't mind if you think of it like that.
で何年なんだ何年だと思う
So what year is it? What year do you think it is?
もうしょうがないな。
Geez, you're
教
hopeless.
えてあげるからちゃんとメモ。
I can actually skip from here. I'm actually going to go back here, load, and load some of this dying stuff. No, not yet.
ネズミ殺したらなんか
そういう問題じゃないだろ
Just... I'm just making sure if you lose the game, the dialogue doesn't change. actually approach Hotori and use that as my through line just for continuing. Yeah, and say, I
カ
know
ゴ
it.
メ歌の意味か。
The meaning of the Kagome song, huh?
まあそれなら一応知ってるけど、
Well, I know a little about it, but
どんな意味？
then what does it mean?
まずカゴメとは
First, Kagome is... The basket pattern, Kagome. About the basket pattern? Cage woman is correct.
カゴの目のことだ。
It's about the pattern that's used in baskets.
カゴメ模様って言葉があるだろ。
There's a pattern they call Kagome Mayoi, the basket weave, right?
これはそのまんまカゴの目のような模様のことを表してる。
It's talking about that pattern.
六芒星、ヘキサグラム、ダビデの星。
The six-pointed star, a hexagram, or the Star of David.
呼び方はいろいろあるが、要するに上下対称形の正三角形を2つ重ねた形がカゴメ模様ってわけだ。
There are many different names for it, but in short, the term Kagome Mayoi refers to symmetrical shape of the two equilateral triangles
だか
overlapping.
らカゴメ歌もこの六芒星を象徴とするとある民族の末裔が
That's why the Kagome song refers to the six-pointed star symbol and was handed down by the descendants of a certain tribe.
全然違うよ。
That's completely wrong. What?
全然違うって言ったの。
What you're saying? I said that you're completely wrong.
カゴメ歌のカゴメはお腹の大きな女性のことを表してるんだよ。
Kagome in the Kagome song is a woman with a great big
身
belly.
ごもった女と書いてカゴメ。
The woman who uses her body as a cage, Kago, written as cage
つ
woman.
まり妊婦のこと。
In other words, a pregnant
そ
woman.
の次の
And it goes. Without another word, Tori got up and headed for her room. However, just before she left the room, she stopped and turned to me.
ああそうだ。
Oh, that's
竹
right.
のこと覚えてるよね。
You remember our bet, don't you? Okay, I'm gonna work this off the other option, other option. So
まず
being surrounded.
カゴメのことだ。
It's about being surrounded.
この歌
Kagome.
が生まれた頃には多分カコメカコメって歌ってたんだと思う。
Well, I guess when the song was first created, the original words were kakome, kakome.
その発音が時とともに濁っていき、今ではカゴメカゴメに。
The pronunciation got muddled over time, and now the songs become kagome, kagome.
全然違うよ。
That's completely wrong. What?
全然違うって言ったの。
What you said? I said you were completely
カ
wrong.
ゴメ歌のカゴ身ごもった。つまり頼みたいことがあるの。聞いて。
Okay. So let's load the last version here.
まず
Let's say the correct answer. About
カ
a
ゴの
cage.
中に閉じ込められた女のことだ。
It's about a woman trapped in a cage,
お
kago.
そらく遊女のことを表してるんだろ
It's most likely referring to a
う。
prostitute.
だからカゴメ歌っていうのはこの囚われの身となった哀れな女郎のことを。
So the Kagome song is actually the sad story of a prostitute who's being held captive and turned into a commodity. So
全然違うよ。
that's completely wrong.
字は合ってるけど意味が全然違う。
What? You got the reading right, but the meaning is totally off.
カゴメ歌のカ
Okay, so next. Oh, that's right. You remember our bet, don't you? I have a favor to ask, so listen carefully, okay? Before continuing, she handed me a certain object.
これ調べといてくれないかな。
Can you look into this for me?
ユニの部屋で見つけたんだけど。
I found it in Uni's room.
じゃよろしくね。
I'm counting on you, okay? Leaving these two words behind, she disappeared through the door. Found it in Uni's room. I opened my palm. Pills. Some kind of medication. The package had the word Rexulin printed on it. Rexinin. Benzodiazepine. Yeah, benzodiazepine, an anti-anxiety agent. binds to the BZD receptors as well as the GABAA receptors, suppresses nerve stimulation and puts the body in a relaxed state. Results in anxiolytic, anti-anxiety, sedative, hypnotic, muscle relaxant, and anticonvulsant action. The anxiolytic tranquilizer effect is so powerful it is said that it is 5 times more potent than the average anti-anxiety drugs. After taking the drug, the highest concentration in the bloodstream will be achieved after an hour. The manifestation of its effects is somewhat sped up. Its half-life within the bloodstream is 6 to 20 hours. The drug is classified as having short-term to medium-term effects. It is a very useful drug because its drowsiness side effect for a minor tranquilizer is relatively weak. Half-life is 6 to 20 hours.
調べてくれって言われてもな。
Even if you asked me to look into it. Complaining I slipped the pills into my pocket. Right. Okay, I gotta pause here because I gotta use the restroom. Okay, I'm back. So while I was in the restroom, I had this thought. You know how in Kokoro's route, there's bad endings that you get if you previously got, like you're working with your previous try at Satoru, you got a certain bad ending as Satoru? Well, when I saved, I didn't look at it. That was I got from a bad ending guide for Kokoro's route. Now, I never looked at a bad ending guide for Satoru, so I wanted to try it myself first, right? But when I, something I noticed is when I got stabbed by the mysterious shadow, it showed up as not like right below the Satoru epilogue. There was an empty space there, which suggests that there is an earlier bad ending you can get, which I didn't find somehow. And I kind of had some vain hopes still going that maybe that slot was for something after the Satoru epilogue. Like, maybe that was for like a golden ending or something that I still haven't seen. But I honestly don't think that's true. Likely what's going on there is there's an ending called Satoru Drowned in the Bathroom in B that you get if you play as Kokoro, and then you get Satoru Drowned in the Bathroom in A as Kokoro, then switch to Satoru afterwards. That's what I'm guessing that is. There's actually there's endings that you can get off of Kokoro bad endings in Satoru's routes. Anyway, we're just going to keep going through Satoru, but I have a feeling that that's actually the case. I just always thought of that in the restroom. Okay, I'm going to actually hit save, say save again, because I'm going to make sure, okay, I did save this. Okay, so I'm going to answer this with, I was thirsty too. This is when Utsumi's going to murder
俺も
everybody.
喉が渇いたから。
I was actually thirsty too. I answered.
そう偶然ねこんな時間に一緒に起きるなんて
I see. What a coincidence for both of us to get up so early for the same thing. When she turned around, she held 2 glasses in her
座っ
hands.
たら
Won't you have a seat? As urged, I pulled out a chair. She made her way over to the fridge and opened the door. She took out a bottle of mineral water from inside. Come to think of it, something had occurred to me. Each of us had a personal fridge in our rooms, and they all had mineral water in them too. There was no need for her to drag herself all the way to the kitchen just to get a drink of water. She was obviously lying, but I'd known that the moment I saw her looking in the
飲むでし
cupboard.
ょ
You wanted a drink, right? She put the 2 glasses down on the table and poured water into each.
どうぞ
Here. She placed one of the glasses in front of me. I told her I was thirsty too, so there was no way for me to refuse. I drank it in one gulp. I returned the empty glass to the tabletop. She watched me with unturned eyes as I drank. Her face was veiled in shadow, so I couldn't see into her eyes. She raised the glass to her lips, yet made no move to drink from it. She stood there frozen. Beyond the darkness that separated us, I could barely hear the faint sound of her breathing. Standing there wordlessly in the dark, she resembled nothing so much as a wraith that had wandered free of its earthly body. I couldn't feel the slightest warmth from her.
どうしたんだ
What's wrong? I held my breath as I asked her. She moved the glass away from her lips. And without saying a word, she turned her hand and tipped it. The liquid inside made a splashing sound as it hit the floor, filling me with icy dread.
まさか
It can't be. Propelled into action by sudden anxiety, I frantically patted my own body, in order to see if anything was wrong.
哀れね
How pitiful. She suddenly spoke. As she looked down, watching my floundering,
無力な
immobile,
人間は哀れ
a powerless human is so pitiful.
何が言いたいんだ
What are you trying to say?
結局あなたにはどうすることもできなかったそうでしょ
In the end, you couldn't do a thing, could you? Panic ran out of my head like an alarm bell. The tips of my fingers began to tap out an unconscious rhythm on the table. Convulsions. I clenched my hands together to stop the
この
spasms.
計画は誰にも邪魔させない
I won't let anyone interfere with my plan.
誰にも止めることはできない
No one can stop
の
me.
前にも教えたわよね
I told you before, right? Well, you wouldn't remember because that was actually Kokoro. I don't remember hearing anything like that exactly. But now wasn't the time to question her. I need to throw up that water right now. I sprang out of my chair, or at least I wanted to, but my body had adhered to the floor. My extremities were completely numb and were out of control. And it wasn't just my fingertips either. My lips, tongue, and even my eyelids wouldn't move. My eye was heavy, like a stone clod had been driven into it. I had a sudden sense that I'd experienced this feeling before. However, I couldn't recall when and where anymore.
安心して
Don't
あ
worry.
なたを殺すつもりはないから
I'm not planning to kill you. Her voice sounded far away. Little by little, it drifted even further. Trying to grab hold of that voice, I reached out with all my
さよな
might.
らユキド君
Goodbye, Yukido-kun. My consciousness was weakening, fading, and before long I couldn't see anything. I floated to the bottom of a quagmire where no light would ever reach, my consciousness completely swallowed. Awakening. That afternoon, I found the corpse of the slaughtered Hotori. Her ribs had been torn right through her flesh and her heart neatly gouged out. Beside her lay the corpse of Utsumi. She'd slit her wrists, taking her own life. With the wrists? Wow. That's... In the palm of her hand, she grasped a heart, so crushed that all semblance of its original form had been lost. It was Hotori's heart, and with one finger of her other hand, she'd written something on the floor in blood. Just a single line. Where is self? How poetic. Same thing Kaiko said, right? Yuni sat in the sea of blood, muttering to himself like a madman. I had no idea what happened after that. I think several more transfers occurred, but that didn't matter anymore. At the mercy of something greater than I, my lost soul just wandered aimlessly through an empty world. And what happened to the 4 people at the shelter cabin after that? From the newspaper dated July 4th, 2011, the heading 3 decomposed male and female corpses found on Mount Akakura had disappeared. Instead, it said that their bodies were discovered on January 17th, along with those of the other passengers. So they didn't come back alive. That means that the 3 of them died on January 11th. I wondered if I'd just been dreaming this whole time. A nightmare without end. Now in a white room. A pure white room without a single stain on its walls. In one wall, there's a small window with bars across it. Outside, I can see cherry blossoms as they flutter down and dance on the wind. An old man is walking down the road. Slowly, slowly, he totters by. From the other direction comes a boy walking a dog. He shouts cheerfully as he runs, bathed in the sunlight filtering through the trees. I don't want to think anymore. Just gazing through the window at the world enclosed by this little square is enough for me. The cherry blossoms, the old man, the dog, and the boy. I surrendered myself to the passage of time, content to be a spectator. Without emotion nor self, with only this single viewpoint, observing the transient world. Viewpoint, a point. With neither volume nor mass. I was a hollow existence. Suddenly I heard a voice from the other side of the door. Inamoto-san. Inamoto Naoya-san. It's time for your medicine. Imagine if you got this bad ending like real early. That would have been like, what the heck? I understand it now. I understand it because he's the body of Inamoto and they swapped, but like, that would have been really weird if it happened earlier. Yes. Okay. That is interesting. So, what's that one called? Utsumi's plans execution end. Ah. That's another one of those, does things in Kokoro's route endings. Okay. Okay, so I got prenatal through uniform, and then at Dimly I have alien 82% somehow. There's something more can happen in Dimly. Maybe it's the Satoru drowned in the bathroom in B. There's like one line I missed in Reflection 1, one line I missed in Polyhedron, lot missed in Receive, which is interesting. Only got 70% of DHA, which got 90% of MBA. Getting all of MBA is going to be hard. Piece of cheese. Through... all the way through Fitful. I'm at 99%. Great, okay. But all the way through Fitful is completed. It's like an entire page worth. Okay. Let me go back to DHA. I'm going to see if anything special happens, if I can get other things here. DHA, yes. I was gonna say
No.
basketball. Nope. Okay, so different things can happen in DHA. That's interesting. Oh, the ball swallowed into the rim. Alright. Unthinkably, I clenched my fist victoriously. I turned to Hotori, waiting for her to see it. Hotori snorted and looked away. Okay, let's continue through these things.
今度こそ。
ね、
2121.
どうしよう。
Yeah, play it safe and
本
2P,
当に
I
2
guess.
点でいい。ここでもしも。
いや同点とはいえその意味だから
21対20。確かにでもここで喜ぶのは申し訳ないけど。
どうかな
Oh, then you win? Okay. Okay. Anyway. Interesting. So more can happen in DHA. Interesting. Fitful. Yes. No, I don't want to do this yet. I want to go to 60. Yes. Warren Mayuzumi is the right thing to choose, I believe.
Mayuzumi!
Yes. Keep going. I picked the wrong one. Well, whatever. I don't think that choice matters. Oh, I have to get a good in. Oh. Do I have to get the good ending to reset it? Huh. Try this again. I was 32. Get the bad ending. Or do I have to start Kokoro all over again now? Because that whole game was borked. I have to start Kokoro all over again. Fine, I'll do that. Stupid.
やーちゃいか。
So every time I want to re-get... Oh, if this succeeds, that's going to be so obnoxious. It's going to be so obnoxious. Okay, got to go through the exposition about the murders. TB discussion, exposition of Kaiko. Plane crash. Nothing works to skip this thing. Can't skip it. Can't skip this either. starting to get a certain suspicion, and I'm going to confirm it for the next recording. There's something here that's suggesting, like, after I thought of, what if there's, like, endings that are, like, for Satoru, they're like, you have to get a bad ending as Kokoro to get this bad ending as Satoru. Let me kind of say something here. So, I installed the Japanese version of this game on my computer. Off a disc. Now, when I tried to run it recently, it gave me the start a new game. And it told me, well, which type of new game do you want? Do you want a Satoru or a Kokoro? And I was like, this is weird. When I played it in English, using the TL Wiki translation, I had to unlock the Satoru round. It only let me play as Kokoro at first, and then I had to, like, then it unlocked Satoru eventually, once I got the good ending as Kokoro. But now it's letting me choose right off the bat. Oh man, maybe because there's some sort of weird conflict between the installations. Right? But now I'm gonna install that Japanese version on a spare computer I have. Actually, I already have it installed on one of my spare computers. I just want to dig that one out again because it's Windows, it's old and crotchety. But another one of my spare computers that doesn't have any Remember11 installations on it. I'm gonna see if it gives me the choice to play as Satoru and Kokoro right away. Because at first I thought it was some sort of installation error, save file error, conflict interaction nonsense. But I'm thinking that was how it is, and for some reason the TL Wiki translators decided to change it such that you had to unlock Satoru and you couldn't play as Satoru from the start. If you could play as both of them from the start, this mechanic where a bad ending is one causes a bad ending and the other makes more sense. Anyway, I don't know for certain. I'll confirm next time. Keep skipping. This whole thing is starting to unravel for me here. Starting to figure it out. You Internet Archive people. Starting to see what you did. Okay. Wow, we're still like on day one. Fortunately, so we're going really slow. Like collective symptoms. Talking about did. So, like, a long way to go here. That was the first note that was written. We got a long way to go. Voice my objection, right? Mostly blackout. Doesn't matter. Warren Mayuzumi. Okay, scars taste like okay, we got through scars taste like paranoia this time. Run to a private room. Look for a footstool. Yeah, I'm starting to realize. So probably you could have gotten the original Japanese. You could get the Satoru good ending without getting the Kokoro one, but then the after credit scene doesn't happen, right? You don't get Satoru's epilogue. Correct? Yeah, I'm getting starting to get the picture. Yes. We're going to ignore Mayuzumi. Run after him. Duck him. Pain-like spiral, okay. I'll fix it. Okay. New life. Okay. I have to go to a search for her. Say I didn't eat. Okay. Abyss of Despair 1. All of a sudden, my vision was shrouded in darkness. That didn't mean that there was no light, but all I saw was true nothingness. I could feel nothing, let alone see anything. I heard nothing, smelled nothing, and felt nothing. I couldn't even speak. What on earth was going on? What on earth? What? For long, even those thoughts sank to the bottom of a quagmire. Afterward, I experienced the transfer once more and came back to Svea. What I saw there was the corpse of the slaughtered Hotori. Her ribs had been torn right through her flesh and her heart neatly gouged out. Beside her lay the corpse of Utsumi. She'd slit her wrist, taking her own life. In the palm of her hand she grasped a heart, so crushed that all semblance of its original form had been lost. It was Hotori's heart, and with one finger of her other hand she'd written something on the floor in blood. Just a single line. Where is self? Uni sat in the sea of blood, muttering to himself like a madman. I couldn't understand it at all. This was an event that transcended the limits of my comprehension. Who, what, how, when had this happened? Had made this happen? I didn't understand a
どう
thing.
して
Why? Why did I whisper that? I was back at the shelter cabin before I realized it, but no one was there. Yamogi Mizumi and even Uni, I couldn't find the slightest trace of anyone. It was only I who existed. No, that wasn't the only thing strange. Amazingly, even the signs that we had ever been here had vanished. The table, chairs, and shelves which Yomogi had destroyed to use for firewood had gone back to the way they were. Yeah, because Uni never went back in time, right? So they never got to the shelter cabin. As if they had never even touched the supplies and firewood used these past 4 days had been restored as well. I wandered unsteadily through the cabin. On the table was a newspaper dated July 4th, 2011. The headline, 3 decomposed male and female corpses found on Mount Akakura, had disappeared from it. I don't understand. I don't understand anything anymore. Had I been dreaming this whole time? A nightmare without end? It's interesting she had all the supplies. I heard the sound of the blizzard. A stabbing pain dragged me back to reality. Here. Where is it? Something dark, round, and cylindrical covered everything around me. It was filled with a strange smell. Because of that awful smell, I could feel something welling up from the pit of my stomach. I could hear the rumbling of the storm on the other side of the cylindrical walls. I wore a jacket, a leather coat, a wool sweater, a scarf and gloves, so many layers of clothing, but I still felt the cold in the marrow of my bones. And yet for some reason I wasn't shivering. Slowly, gradually, my entire body lost all feeling. Through my weakening consciousness, I realized it. That I had returned to that day.
ごめんかごめん
Ah, she never got... Yeah, okay. She never got saved from the wreck. The song I suddenly began to chant. I felt it. Behind me was the shadow of the existence that had beckoned us into the situation.
夜明けのパンに
In the evening, lit by the dawn, it had neither volume nor mass, a point, a hollow nothingness.
後ろの正面誰
And in the nothingness swallowed me. Yes. Okay, what was that one called? So unfortunately that didn't do what I wanted to. Okay, Genocide of the Sphia Residence End, number 4. Okay. Yeah, and that probably did not actually solve my mystery as to the scene Shadow of Falsehood, because I never got to... it's still at 90%. Okay, but I got a new scene called The Abyss of Despair 1. It's at 100%, I guess. Okay. Let's continue with Satoru. Come on, where was I? Fitful, right? Okay, so I'm Thirsty 2 goes to a bad
見
end.
張ってたんだ。
So let's do the other one. Okay. This is gonna be another way to get the same bad end. Drink it. I drank it all in one gulp. And then we're gonna go through. Yep. Yep. Now, let's continue from there. Fuse. Digesting. Just pick the wrong thing here.
よもぎさんがいるじゃないか。
Tomogi-san,
彼
don't
はきっ
you?
とあなたのことを待ってる。
I'm sure he's waiting for
彼
you.
のいるところがあなたの帰るべき場所。
Place where he is, that's the place you should return to. Basically, you just indirectly, without knowing it, told her that she should die.
そうだろ
Right?
それどういう意味？
What's that supposed to mean?
あなた彼がもう二度と戻ってこないって知ってて言ってるのよね。
You already know that he'll never come back, don't you?
18便の事故のこと あなたも知ってるはずだもの。
You should already know about the crash of Flight 18.
つまり私に後を追えって、
Are you saying that I should follow after him?
そういう意味？
Is that what you mean?
違う、そうじゃない。
No, it's not
俺の
it.
中では彼は今も生きてるんだよ。
To me, he's still alive right
う
now.
まく言えないけれど、
I can't explain it very well. Oh, that's a good
俺
point.
は必ず彼を助けるから。絶対死なせたりなんてしないから。
I'll definitely save him. I won't let him die no matter what.
そうすれば1年後の今日も彼は生存し続けているということになり、
If I do, he'll still be alive a year later.
だから
So,
あなた何言ってるの？
what are you saying?
まったくどう説明すりゃいいんだ。
Oh, geez, how do I explain
多
it?
分信じてもらえないと思うけど、
You probably won't believe me, but
俺は1年前のよもぎさんに会ったんだ。
I met the Yomogi of 1 year ago.
赤倉岳で。
I'm not Akakura.
だから純一君のことも赤ん坊のことも知ってるんだ。
That's why I know about Junichi-kun and your baby.
彼から直接聞いたんだよ。
I heard it from
ゆう
him.
べ彼はこう言ってた。
He told me last
予
night.
定日は8月だって。
The due date was in
という
August.
ことは赤ん坊が生まれたのは去年の8月で、
That means the baby would have been born last August, right?
なんでそんなこと知ってるの？
How did you know
だ
that?
からよもぎさんから聞いたからだよ。
I told you I heard it from Yomogi-san.
わけのわからないこと言わないで。
Okay, not bad. I don't know why, but there must have been a way up from there. I decided to search Svea. There could still be a place I'd overlooked hidden away somewhere. As I had that thought, I decided to head to the storeroom first. I don't know why that was different, but... The spiel within a moto. Okay, we're gonna save here. Quantum teleportation. I
な
have
る
it.
ほど。まずはそこから説明しなければならないか。
I see, so I'll have to start from there.
量子テレポーテーションとは量子力学の性質を利用した技術のことだ。
Quantum, the smallest unit of physical quantity which can be expressed using values limited to a set of integers within a certain range, rather than continuous values. In 1900, Max Planck proposed the idea of a quantum energy, the quantum hypothesis that spawned the beginning of quantum theory. Subsequently, Albert Einstein suggested the existence of a light quantum photon, and Niels Bohr demonstrated the angular momentum quantum. That's kind of an oversimplification, but it's kind of right. Quantum mechanics, the study of molecules, atoms, and subatomic particles. In short, the dynamics of matter and energy at a microscopic level. It has introduced the principles. It introduced the principles in the Schrödinger equation, conducted probabilistic explanations between values that can be obtained from observation, postulated the wave-particle duality of matter, and explains the uncertainty relationship in measurements.
テ
Okay.
レポーテーション。物体をそっくりそのまま別の場所に転送させる現象。
Teleportation is the ability to almost instantaneously teleport an object to a different
いや
location.
物体を転送というのはちょっと語弊があるな。
No, transport an object isn't quite
正
correct.
確には物体を転送するのではなく物体の情報を転送する。
To be more accurate, it's not the object that is transferred, but the information which composes it.
物体そのものを転送する必要はない。
There's no need to move the object itself.
送りたいのは状態の情報であって状態自体ではない。
If you want to transfer is what you want to transfer is the sum of the object's present physical state, not the state itself.
物体の量子情報を転送し別の場所にその物体を再構築するわけだ。
Transmitting the quantum information of a system, then reconstructing it at a different location.
信じられないかもしれないができるのだよ現実的に。
You may not believe this, but it's a realistic possibility. It can be done.
実証もされている。
I can even prove it to you.
量子テレポーテーションの理論的基礎となっているのは EPR ペアと呼ばれる概念だ。
The theoretical basis of quantum teleportation lies in the concept known as the EPR pair. Abbreviation composed of the first letters of the names of three physicists, Einstein, Podolsky, and Rosen. These three postulated the EPR paper to argue against the concept of the uncertainty principle of quantum mechanics. Oh, so they're coming up with like, this like alt quantum that was proved wrong nowadays. What's called like the hidden factor or whatever. This opposition was especially pronounced in the case of Einstein, summed up by his famous remark, "God does not play dice." Although fully recognized its usefulness, he was known for to be uncomfortable with and oppose quantum mechanics until his death, because of its inability to definitely describe the microscopic aspects of physical reality. Einstein conducted many thought experiments that criticized quantum mechanics and troubled his opponent Niels Bohr, one of the founders of quantum mechanics. The EPR paper was published by Einstein, Boris Polsky, and Nathan Rosen, also known as the EPR paradox. It presents a thought experiment that is extremely critical in quantum mechanics and was originally published by Einstein and his co-authors as an attack on it. Ironically, it ended up having the opposite effect and became the best material for deepening one's understanding of the field. The details of the experiment are as follows. According to quantum theory, when two particles are created at some location at the same event, they share a certain kind of state. For example, stationary pi meson decays into two photons traveling in opposite directions, but both members of the photon pair are represented with a single Schrodinger's equation. Quantum theory suggests that as long as they aren't observed, the particles can be expressed by the same equation forever. So even if one of them flies a long distance away, if you observe some information about it, such as a spin or polarization, then you should know the state of the particle that remained behind. But at the moment that you observe one particle, the wave function of the other particle collapses accordingly, appearing as if the measured information has been instantly transmitted from one to the other. Hopefully they use the term quantum entanglement, which is what this is eventually. The EPR paper argues that this is a violation of causality. However, modern quantum mechanics has successfully come up with a proper explanation, and experimental results to support it have been published one after another. Not explanation, that it just happens. This support that quantum entanglement just is a thing, and you just got to accept it. Uncertainty principle. In quantum mechanics, the uncertainty principle states that regarding a particle's position and momentum, energy and time, and other pairs of physical properties, one cannot accurately measure and determine both pairs simultaneously. The uncertainty relationship, which states that the product of the uncertainty of two values cannot be smaller than a fixed proportion of Planck's constant, holds true. It was derived by Werner Heisenberg in 1927. Not just two values that are in reciprocal domains of each other. So, not just two values. But yes, Fourier transforms. The more resolution you have in frequency domain, the less resolution in time domain, and vice versa. Okay.
EPR ペアとは一度の操作で同時に発生させた2つの粒子に生じる特徴のこと。
EPR pairs are born from a simultaneous generation of particle pairs. An example of an established method, the following procedure exists. When the UV laser beam interacts with a crystal of nonlinear optical material such as barium borate, each single photon splits into two other photons with long wavelengths. These split photons travel along the contours of two cones that in turn are symmetrical about the initial beam. The points where the contours of the two cones intersect have photons in the state of entanglement. Yay, entanglement is brought up. The term is brought up. There is no distinction as to their origins there. What is known about their entangled photons is that their polarization is mutually orthogonal. Therefore, it is impossible to definitely know their representative deflection angles. This method of creating entangled photons is called parametric down conversion. A form of quantum superposition refers to a situation in which two systems of several quantum bits, in accordance with the laws of quantum mechanics, forms an inseparable state and behaves as if it were a single quantum entity. Let's see what quantum bits are. Refers to a new unit of information content different from the classical bit, an information represented by a binary digit with 0 off or 1 on, used in modern computers, von Neumann machines. A physical state in which 0 and 1 overlap, quantum superposition is treated as an operational unit. Also known as a qubit, computers that use them are called quantum computers and are capable of carrying out very fast calculations, massively parallel computation. A quantum computer is like running all possible combinations through something at the same time. So you can think of it as an instantaneous brute force search. Conceptually. You had a Mardet gate everything at the start, and it makes a equal superposition of all the integers. Anyway, a computer which creates a superposition of two states as a single element and performs calculations using both states. A finite computer can only perform a single calculation per element. Because of this, if there are 10 elements, the number of calculations it performs simultaneously, like I said, rises to 2 to the 10. As more elements are added, the computational power grows dramatically. The speed this computer boasts can truly be called wondrous, provided that the problem you're trying to solve makes sense in a quantum computer context. It can't do everything fast, but it can solve certain specific problems, such as searches really fast. In theory.
こ
Okay.
の双子の粒子は不思議な運命を共有することになる。
These twin particles share a curious
簡
fate.
単に言ってしまえば、
Put
その
simply,
双子の粒子はどんなに離れていようとも、一方を観測することによって生じた影響がもう一方に瞬時に伝わってしまうのだ。
no matter how far apart the twin particles are spatially, any influence on the state of the one particle is instantaneously transmitted to the
た
other.
とえ両者が1万光年もの距離を隔てていてもね。
This does body swapping somehow. Even if, for example, the distance between the pairs is tens of thousands of light
Utsumari.
years.
高速を超えて伝達すると。
In other words, transmission of information which exceeds the speed of light. It's a measurement, though. There's a way to resolve this. But anyway,
そう。
yes.
もっとも実際は双子の粒子は個別に考えるのではなく、ひとまとめにして捉えなくてはならないからというわけなのだがね。
What it means is that, for all intents and purposes, these two particles cannot be treated as two separate units, but as one.
さて、この概念を踏まえて説明を続けよう。
Now, with that general concept in place, I'll continue. Inamoto pushed his sunglasses up again and turned back to the
テレ
keyboard.
ポーテーション、
Teleportation.
つまりある地点のものを別の地点へと転送するわけだから、送信側と受信側がいることになる。
In other words, the transfer of something from one location to another. Thus, both a sender and a receiver are necessary.
便宜上、送信側をアリス、受信側をボブと呼ぶことにしよう。
For the sake of convenience, let's call the sender Alice and the receiver Bob. Yes, it's always Alice. Oh, it's a separate one for Alice and Bob. Alice and Bob. In cryptography, the one conveying the information is commonly referred to Alice, while the recipient is referred to as Bob. This naming convention was first used in 1978 article representing the RSA crypto system. Additionally, a person found to be intercepting communications through a bug or wiretap between Alice and Bob is customarily referred to as Eve.
では、アリスからボブに量子テレポーテーションを用いて情報を送信する手順をお見せする。
Now I'll show you the process by which information is transported from Alice to Bob via quantum teleportation. Operating the keyboard, Inamoto pulled up an image on the monitor.
まず、EPR ペアの共有。
Firstly, the EPR pair.
EPR ペアの発生源から絡み合いの状態にある粒子 B と粒子 C をアリスとボブが共有できるように送り込む。
Let's give a pair of entwined particles, particle B and particle C, to Alice and Bob, respectively.
次に、粒子 A の受信。
Now, let's introduce particle A.
ボブに送信したい情報プサイを持った粒子 A をアリスが受信する。
Say Alice wants to send this particle A, which is in the state phi, to
一
Bob.
般にアリスにとってはプサイがどんな情報かはわからない。
Generally, Alice doesn't know what is the actual state of phi.
もし分かってしまうと波動関数が壊れてしまうからだ。
Because if she did, the wave function would collapse. The wave function is a functional of space coordinates and time that describes the current state of a particle. It satisfies the Schrodinger's equation and possibly the Dirac equation. No, it satisfies the Dirac equation. It's like the Schrodinger's equation is a non-relativistic approximation of the Dirac equation and proves the wave property of quantum particles. From the square of its absolute value, it gives the existing probability of a particle. In this sense, the wave function is referred to as a probability amplitude. And actually, even the Dirac equation isn't exactly correct, but you have to go to full quantum field theory to get it correct. But you start with the Dirac equation in order to build up quantum field theory.
また、アリスが粒子 A を受信するタイミングは粒子 B と合わせる必要がある。
Now Alice must collate particles A with B.
次はベル測定。
Next, the Bell measurement. A method of placing an isolated pair of particles in an entangled state and then observing both of them at the same time in a way that doesn't permit them to be distinguished from each other in order to maintain the entanglement. Since the particles must be passed through a beam splitter, such as a half-silvered mirror, at exactly the same time, this is extremely difficult in practice.
アリスは粒子 A と粒子 B との間でベル測定と呼ばれる特別な測定を行う。
Alice performs a special measurement called a Bell measurement on particles A and
簡
B.
単に言ってしまえば、2つの状態間のパラメータを測るということだ。
To put it simply, the process is about measuring the parameters describing the sum of their respective states.
この時、アリスの得られる情報はベル状態。
So Alice determines the Bell
つ
state.
まり、A と B とで絡み合った4つのそれぞれ異なった量子論的な状態であって、
Keep in mind, the person giving this explanation is the Satoru, is actually Satoru. Yes. That is to say... No, it's not... It's Inamoto, it is Inamoto and Satoru's... Whatever. No, yeah, I forgot. Oh, well... Bleh. That is to say, one of the 4 different quantum states of the now entwined particle pair AB.
粒子 A の情報プサイを得ることはない。
But she still has no idea of the state of the 5 particle A. My theory I'm going with, that's wrong. The theory I'm going with is this guy actually is Inamoto. He's just in the body of Satoru. Anyway, but she still has no idea of the state of 5 particle
なお
A.
この状態はそれぞれ理論上すべて同じ確率で、その確率は4分の1ずつとなる。
Furthermore, these states theoretically share the same probability of being obtained, namely 1/4 for each
4
state.
つのうちのどれかというわけだ。
That is, it could be any of the 4.
そして粒子 A のテレポーテーションが行われる。
Next, particle A is
アリス
teleported.
がベル測定を行った瞬間に粒子 A、B の区別はなくなり EPR ペアの状態が破壊される。
The moment Alice makes her measurement, the distinction between particles A and B is lost. They become one, and the original EPR pair entanglement is broken.
それと同時にボブ側の EPR 状態は部分的に収縮し、情報プサイが粒子 C に移動する。
At the same time, the half of the EPR pair Bob has partially collapses, and the state phi migrates to particle C.
ただしボブはベル測定の結果をアリスから知らされるまでは意味のある情報への変換の仕方がわからない。
However, until Bob learns the results of the Bell measurement, he won't be able to recreate the state of the sent particle.
その次はベル測定の結果の送信だ。
So the next step is to communicate the results of the Bell measurement.
アリスが得たベル測定の結果をボブに送信する。
Alice sends Bob the results of the measurement she
この
obtained.
時の通信手段は一般的には電話などの古典通信、高速以下の通信が使われる。
The means of communication this time could be more orthodox, say a phone call or a letter, a transmission occurring below the speed of light.
最後に量子情報の変換。
And then the final step is the transformation of the quantum state.
ボブは知らされたベル測定の結果を利用して粒子 C の量子的な情報にユニタリ変換。
Using the results of the Bell measurements Bob was informed of, he applies a unitary transformation to the particle C
すな
in
わ
his
ち
possession.
波動関数の情報を損なわない操作を施す。
Yeah, I messed that up. Oh well. I guess we don't get to learn what a unitary transformation is. But it basically, it applies a rotation on the Bloch sphere. Which, what does that do? It applies a transformation to whatever state the particle is in that maps each state to another state. So Bob may not necessarily know what the state is, but he knows how it would map the state. Like Hadamard gate is an example of this. Namely, an operation which does not harm the information of the wave function.
その結果、ボブ側にアリスが送りたかった情報プサイが再現される。
The result is that the state phi Alice wanted to send to Bob was successfully reproduced on Bob's
こう
side.
してようやく意味のある情報がボブに転送されたという
Thus
わけ。
the vital information finally reaches its destination.
以上が量子テレポーテーションの主な流れだ。
This is how the protocol of quantum teleportation works.
この中では EPR は2段構造となっているが、理論上は何段階でも構わない。
Here I showed you an experiment using only a single EPR pair, but of course multiple pairs are possible as well.
アリスの隣にアリス2、アリス3、アリス N と任意に設置できる。
You can arbitrarily add an Alice 2, Alice 3, and so on and so forth up to Alice N.
簡単に説明するとこんなところかな。
That's about as simple as an explanation as I can give.
量子テレポーテーションは本来人間などは転送させることはできず
And then we keep going. And then this nonsense.
ブラックだ。当然だろ。
Yeah, it changes it because I said that. Yeah, I
俺は
changed
砂
it.
糖だって入れない。コーヒーは苦いからコーヒーなんだ。
I don't take sugar either. The bitterness is what makes coffee coffee.
なるほど君とは本当に意見が合いそうだ
I see. Our opinions really do match, and I have to redo all of this with him choosing that he likes creamer in his coffee, such that we can get other choices you can possibly make when that happens. But anyway, Emoto said happily.
どうだい君も一口飲んでみないかい実際に舌で確かめてみてくれよ
Well, won't you have a sip? Confirm it with your own
これ
tongue.
をか。
Of this. Try, don't drink.
いや、俺は飲まない。
No, I won't drink
そう
it.
かまあいいだろ
Well, if that's so, well, I guess that's fine.
うでは続けようか
Then let's
Ne?
continue.
どうすればいい？
Continue. What am I supposed to do? Continue.
では
Okay.
もう一度2つのコーヒーを飲み比べてみよ
Then I'll compare the two coffees again.
は？なぜ？
Huh? Why? Not answering anymore, took another sip from each coffee.
うミルク入りも悪くない
It's not bad with milk either.
逆にブラックは何か物足りない
Now it's the black that feels like it's missing something.
おい、さっきと言ってることが逆じゃないか。
Hey, isn't that the opposite of what you said a few minutes ago?
だが事実そう感じるのだから仕方がない
But that's what we've experienced in reality, so there's no helping it.
どういうことだ？
残念なことに君には飲んでもらえなかったのでいまいち説得力に欠けているが
It's a shame you didn't sample the coffee. My demonstration isn't as effective without audience participation.
とりあえず実証は終了だ
At any rate, here is the demonstration.
待てよ。
素直に受け入れたまえ
Just immediately take it
だ
in.
が、しかし、
But that's
ではあえて
okay. Destruction. I noticed one thing. The reason that her brain wasn't working properly wasn't just because of the cold. Hunger, starvation. My body was violently craving food. I felt a hunger powerful enough to make me go insane. Even though I was disgusted with my current situation, food was the only thing on my mind. Cold, I want to eat. Cold, I want to eat. Cold, I want to eat. I'm going to lose it for real if this keeps up. I was in a dangerous situation, walking the thin line between reason and instinct. I hung my head and continued struggling against the unwieldy desires budding inside me. A life or death battle. And before long, skipping.
そ
So
れ
it
から
does,
食料も
and the
も
food
うほ
too.
とんど残ってないんだ
There's almost nothing left. Suddenly Uni spoke up.
食料が。
No food. I glanced over at Yomogi for confirmation. Yomogi closed his eyes and
そ
nodded.
んな。
No way. I peered into the stove again. I reached a hand in to feel the charcoal, not a trace of warmth. The cinders were ice cold. 2 more days until the rescue team arrives. In this cabin, having finally run out of fuel and food, they would have to survive 2 more long, cold nights. Can they really hold out until then? While I was looking elsewhere, the situation had gotten worse. What to do? Hey, Kokoro, just what should I do? Wow, no, like, big choice sprout here. I was gonna, like, save it the next choice and then go back to the coffee. Okay. Got a quantum teleport. Whoops, no. Okay, let's load quantum teleportation again. Okay, drink it.
ボブの方。つまり、ブラックの方が断然うまい。
The Bob one. In other words, the one that's black is instinctively better. Answer while returning the coffee to its
なるほど。
place. Bob's, in other words, the coffee with milk in it was really good. Okay. So, yeah. Does switch the coffee preferences, which is interesting. Okay, I don't know. I'll save this over top for some reason, even though whether you drink the coffee or not doesn't really matter. Yes. Okay. Let's try. So, what did she ask you? Do you want to kill me too? You want to kill me too, don't you? Yeah, I sure do.
ああ、殺したいね。
Yeah, I sure do. I dare to answer. She's the killer responsible for the Awazumi incident. Junichi, Utsumi, and Yomogi. If I think about the three of them, the strangling her to death wouldn't be nearly enough.
やっぱりね。
Just as I thought.
いいよ。殺しても。
That's fine. You can kill me if you want. She wore a playful expression.
ほとり、勘違いすんな。
Tori, don't misunderstand.
俺は単に、殺したいと言っただけであって、殺すとは一言も言ってない。
I simply said I want to kill you. I never once said that I was going to kill you.
なんだ。残念。
What a pity.
殺されるんならサトルにって思ってたんだけどな。
I was just thinking if I have to be killed, I'd rather Satoru did it.
まあいいや。
Oh well.
じゃあ、私の方が殺してもいい？
Then can I do the killing instead? I'd already grown used to her provocative words. I cocked my head and cracked my spine as I looked nowhere in particular. I faked a carefree attitude, but I was paying attention to every detail. Was Tori the one who made me take the DMT and the MAO inhibitor after all? No, that was a baby just grabbing them off the counter, but okay. But if she were the criminal, would she really be casually hinting at her crimes like that?
いや、遠慮しとくよ。
Now pass after all. I answered lightly, treating it like a joke.
どうしてもダメ？
No matter what. A coaxing voice, much like that of a spoiled child. Her tone of voice, so out of place in this conversation, caused me to unintentionally loosen up.
どうしてもダメだ。
No matter what.
そっか。
Is that so?
だったらやめとくよ。
Well, I give up then.
でも、惜しいことしたね。
But this is quite the disappointment, you know.
せっかく冬川心のところに連れて行ってあげようと思ったのに。
Here I thought I'd bring you to Fuyukawa Kokoro. For a moment, silence. After blinking several times, I asked,
どういう意味だ？
What do you mean?
どういう意味って。
What do I mean?
そのまんまの意味だよ。
Just what I said.
だって冬川心って女の子死んじゃってるんでしょ。
Because the woman called Fuyukawa Kokoro is dead, right? Those words were like a blow that sent everything I had thought up to that point flying away, leaving no trace. A cold shiver ran along my spine.
だけどお前はさっき殺してもいいって。
But didn't you say, can I do the killing instead just now?
そんなこと真に受けちゃ。
Do you really believe I'm the culprit, Satoru? So anyway, let's see if it's like you get any differences on the
なんでほ。ああ、これ。
really believe I'm the culprit. Save this. Yeah. Yeah. I answer without hesitation.
ふん、そっか。
That's so.
だったらずっとそう思ってれば。
If that's the case, then why don't you just keep right on thinking it?
思うのは個人の自由だしね。
Everyone has a right to their own opinion.
じゃ、さよなら。
Well, bye then. Making no attempt to conceal her dissatisfaction, Hattori left the room. As time passed, the words Hattori left behind gradually faded away. My conviction that she was the culprit didn't waver, but it was no use thinking about that now. I shifted my attention to other matters. And I'm just gonna go through with that. Yomogi and Lin were standing in different places around the room, trying to bear the cold. Yuni was wrapped up in a blanket on the bed together with me. The faint warmth emitted from my small body felt very reassuring. Yuni was sleeping, nestled against my shoulder. I took a second look around. Nobody was talking. Nobody so much as moved a muscle. Even sustaining their breathing required the utmost effort. I was in a world about to be consumed by snow, ice, silence, and death. I laid Yuni down slowly as to not wake him up and stood. I slowly got up and went to the window to survey the scene outside. The sky was okay. Fall out to her, rushed over to her.
リンリン
Lin. I grabbed Lin by the shoulders and loudly called
し
her
っかりし
name.
ろリン
Snap out of it, Lin.
自分をしっかり持つんだ。意識を均衡に保て。
Get a hold of yourself, pull yourself
自
together.
分を作ることならお前は得意だったはずだろ。
Constructing a self is one of your strong points, right? Lin's eyes focused on me. Lin,
何なの？
what?
こんな時にサトルの真似なんて。
Pretending to be Satoru at a time like this.
いい加減にしてよ。
Not enough. I'm gonna load this. See if there's a change here based on previous decisions. No, there isn't. Okay. And,
待て
correct. I don't want to bother with the bad answers in here because I know what they are. Wait, that was wrong? Do I have to redo insertion? So I thought was the right answer. It's not. Interesting. Okay, let's try loading the jump on her back, but like, that doesn't seem right. That wasn't right. Yeah, you die that way too. Oh, so I got an unwinnable state. That's great. Let's load insertion here.
サトルは本気では
Say no. I came to my senses sometime after Hotori had left. It's as I've been left behind in my room, isolated all alone. As time passed, even the words Hotori had left behind gradually faded away. Hurry up and forget. Or rather, I really wanted to hurry up and forget. I shifted my attention to other matters. Okay, now try it. Yeah, there we go. So you have to not blame Hotori for the poison for the MAO inhibitor, otherwise you end up unwinnable, it appears. And then we're gonna get bad ending. I dive for her feet.
離せ
I'm not reading this, but this is repeated.
指が
もう
Oh, let me skip that from there. Okay. I'm actually going to stop here, because this is going to be really cantankerous, trying to get through, like, the various combinations of this. Actually, I'm going to... No, never mind. I'm going to keep going. It's Kokoro. Conscious tried to injure my body. That's the only possibility I can think of. After all, while I'm cutting off from my own body, she's the one controlling it. I don't know her motives. As Satoru said, maybe she really is suicidal. I judge you from the way she murdered Inamoto. I think one of her screws came loose. The crime during a moment of fitful insanity. Anyway, it was Kokoro's consciousness all along. The records tell me everything. It's sad, but I have to face up to it. I won't waver anymore. I won't let myself be restrained by feelings and obligations. I closed my eyes, took a heavy breath, and left that musty room. The third area. Okay, let's go.
なんだお前は聞こえない。お前答えろ。答えろ。俺は俺の勇気道。なんだと貴様は。それが貴様貴様がここに来て計画自分まあいい。失敗可能性簡単。別の俺は貴様何の多世界。なんだよ多世界解釈って。
It's a many worlds interpretation.
悪いが説明する気はない。面倒だし。ダビデは私。俺はたとえ再び。とはいい。貴様に。俺にはどうしても。わからん。説明。お前、バカ。あいつ、我ながら情けないぜ。記憶俺のこの。あいつって、誰だ。なんで、悪いが。なんだよ多世界解釈って。
In science fiction literature and the like, authors sometimes whoa, 1 in 12? Okay, include settings called parallel worlds. A common setup is the protagonist sees worlds that are very similar to the one we live in, but in different subtle ways. Every time the protagonist makes a choice in life, several worlds diverge from the point based on a number of alternatives. It turns out that a similar way of thinking also exists in physics. This is a so-called many worlds interpretation proposed by a scholar named Hugh Everett. It elaborates on the quantum mechanical way of thinking and is competitive with the current mainstream interpretation of quantum mechanics. In quantum mechanics, both matter and energy are seen as a certain kind of wave. To avoid confusion, the word wave here refers strictly to the waves in the world of quantum mechanics rather than the concept of waves in classical theory, which are transmitted and spread outward in all directions. Quantum mechanical waves are basically waves of probability. When dealing with the world on a microscopic scale, there is a restriction that prevents an object's position and momentum from both being known simultaneously, the uncertainty principle, meaning that you can only say the object exists in a particular place with some probability. Because of this, quantum mechanics considers the existence of an object with a probabilistic perspective. The mathematical tool used to describe this phenomenon is called the wave function. Before looking at the many worlds interpretation, we'll try to think about how standard quantum mechanics currently explains the world. For example, consider a single electron. Before you perform the act of observing that it exists in a particular location, its existence is spread out in a probabilistic way due to uncertainty. Until you actually look at it, its existence is described by assigning a probability to all of the places where it could possibly exist. In this state, we call it an electron cloud. Now, suppose you were to use the method to observe the electron. At that moment, assuming that the electron's position was determined, the previously spread out cloud would immediately gather at that single observed point. Likewise for momentum. This is called a wave function collapse. It basically means that the act of observing the electron, which was previously viewed as a probabilistic distribution, renders its fixed existence as a real phenomenon. This explanation is known as the Copenhagen interpretation, and is considered mainstream in modern quantum mechanics. Now then, what is the rivaling many worlds interpretation? It agrees with the Copenhagen interpretation on the treatment of the electron's existence as a probability distribution. The question is, what happens after the moment the electron is observed? Under the many worlds interpretation, the probability distribution is considered to be maintained regardless of whether the electron is observed or not. But what does that mean? For example, when an observer confirms that the electron is in a particular position, the other possibilities don't just disappear. Instead, they actually persist in other worlds the observer can't perceive. It's not such a ridiculous idea, isn't it? Because we can't perceive them in our world that we say they don't exist. Because certainly, if an observer observes that a probability doesn't exist, then it doesn't exist in his world. However, it does exist in the worlds of observers other than that one. This does not make sense, but it's really, really hard to explain why it doesn't make sense. You want to think of wave function collapse as the interaction between that microscopic thing to a macroscopic thing imparts the properties of the macroscopic thing down onto the microscopic thing. Oh dear. Okay, I'll just keep reading. In other words, under the mini-world's interpretation, even the observers are explained probabilistically. The wave function does not only consist of the target of observation, but also the observer's entire space-time. This means that every possibility which has a non-zero probability exists at the same time. Every possible world advances simultaneously, which can be interpreted as truly mini-worlds. If you think about it, the main point is this: observers that observe things are made from the same substance to begin with. There's no reason that whatsoever for an interpretation to distinguish between the two. Someone who dislikes the idea of a person perceives special treatment might find the mini-worlds interpretation easy to warm up to. It gives the impression that it is originally created for the purpose of explaining why waves should suddenly collapse at the moment of observation. In that sense, perhaps we can say it has advanced a step beyond the present-day standard quantum mechanics as a theory.
悪いが説明面倒だし。ダビデはサウルの手、サウルは私はダビデを。俺はダビデを突き刺してやる。
Yeah, and this person we say in see in Inamoto's body is Satoru, because I will smite David is something that Satoru says.
たとえ再び交わされようと。
And it's confirmed to be Satoru because he looks down at an ID card and says, "That's my name." Afterwards.
とはいい、貴様の世界の中では、貴様には、俺には分からないことだらけだ。どうしてお前はここに、どうしてお前が生きている？第一、分からない、説明。お前、バカだな。あいつの記憶を移植されてるとはいえ、ここまで何にも理解できてないとは。我ながら情けないぜ。記憶を移植？俺のこの記憶の異常は。あいつって、なんで？悪いが、そのことだけは、正確には、今しい。あいつのことだけはな。
The very thought of that guy is annoying. You say, okay, let me do the hint on that guy. I've wanted to do this for a while. For this person, there is no past. For this person, there is no future. To be more accurate, the concept of time doesn't exist for this person. For this person, the past, the present, and the future are all condensed into a single point. Point. Emptiness. Zeroth dimension. Three concepts that overlap. The person exists in a place devoid of everything. That absolute will is the only thing there. An absolute will, according to them. If we were to come up with an example, this person would be David. Without doubt, this person was a king who entirely ruled them. Interesting, so I will smite that guy. He doesn't like that guy. Interesting. And to him, a hateful enemy, him, if we were to come up with an example, would be Saul. 11 years before 2012, that's where it all began. 2001? But Satoru, you know not of this. Okay, so let's cue David. David means beloved in Hebrew. The biblical David, from whom this name is derived, was the second king of Israel who established Jerusalem as its capital, uniting Israel and built Israel's era of prosperity. King David excelled in battle tactics, and the mystics who felt that sorcery was behind those tremendous abilities thought that the battle flag of David was undoubtedly a demon-summoning charm. The symbol David used as his emblem is known as the Star of David. This is not in the Bible, by the way. This is kind of like, I don't know what apocrypha this comes from. It's also believed to be a crest that protects Israel from danger. The symbol can be found in the Israeli national flag. That is true, though. In Japan, the Star of David, called the Rokubo Usei, or hexagram, is known as the crest of the Ise Grand Shrine. The symbol that holds the opposite meaning of the Star of David is the Gobu Usei, or pentagram, also called the Star of Solomon. The magical power of the Star of Solomon seals the inner demons inside the Infinity Loop. Okay. Interesting lore here. Solomon means peace or tranquility in Hebrew. The biblical Solomon, from whom this name is derived, was the third king of ancient Israel. Solomon excelled because of his faith and obedience to God, and possessed great wisdom and intelligence, with which he led Israel into a golden age. However, in King Solomon's later years, he placed heavy taxation upon his people in order to construct a golden temple for the Lord. Incorrect. He started the temple in the earlier years. Then he built his palace afterwards, a task that his father David was unable to accomplish. As a result, soon after his death, Israel split into two northern and southern kingdoms. That was not the result directly of King Solomon's taxes. It was the result of Rehoboam's unwillingness to decrease the taxes afterwards. Okay. So this is David. And then I have Saul, right? Means he who is wished for in Hebrew. The biblical Saul, from whom his name is derived, was the first king of ancient Israel. He was truly the king whom the people had wished for, and he lived up to their expectations. Certainly as a king and as a warrior, he might never have known defeat. Except he did. However, he failed in his God-given mission to become an instrument of the Lord. Though anointed by God to become an instrument of the Lord as the king of God's people, he did not. The reason is that Saul disobeyed the will of God. Saul was forsaken by God and met a tragic end. Cool.
だがしかし、それ以外のことなら何も知らないまま感謝しろよ。さっき、どうしてお前が3つの質問、それを。その前に、俺は、いや、榎本はね、貴様のよく意味が、そうだ、3日前、確かだ、お前は絶対、だから、そうか、いや、そういう、いいだろう、まず時空間、ああ、俺は、ある時空間転移装置を最終レベルに持っていくために。
And final level was to take the transference to the final level, and that final level was they devised will move as it transitions into its final stage, the final move that will lead to the truth they had wished for, the final message necessary for them to meet that guy. When it is executed, the world will undergo a great transfiguration. When it is executed, the transient world, imaginary, is lost, the bridge of the world symbolic is crossed, the true world, real, will reveal its shape, together with the awakening of the third eye. Yes. Okay, let's get out of here. Go to the bad end.
まったくだ。
Indeed.
不純物は必要ないさ。
There is no need for impurities.
榎本よ。
I can't skip this. I'm gonna mute it though. And I'm just gonna let it play with no music. You know what? Never mind. I'm gonna pause the encoding during this so that it doesn't play. Okay, the credits are probably about to end, so I unpaused the encoding. Yeah, there we go. We got the ending screen here. Yes. Okay, now I have to go through the entirety of Kokoro again. Which I'll prime right here. I'll just prime it. So I'll just put the first save down, just in case just in case I need to do that. Like I need to do that and save the system data when I close. This case is a glitch that makes it so I have to do that. Because I remember when I didn't save once. Anyway, I'm gonna unmute the game, which was muted. But I'm not going to go any further. I'm just going to prime it, and then go return to the title. Yes. Save system data. Okay. That might, hopefully I'll save get that in the right state. And then I'll just kind of look at the end how far I've gotten. So 23 out of the 33 endings, 150 out of the 154 possible scenes. I went through lines that had 96 of the 110 possible tips. Got 111 out of the 116 possible CGs you could have. All the musics, 95% of the text, 95% of the choices you can make. So got all of the Kokoro endings except for this one, which I will get in the next recording. It's going to be a pain, but I'll only have to do it once, right? I'll have to go through all the way to the end of Kokoro, just all the way through, and then it'll trigger, hopefully. And in Satoru, I got the good end in the epilogue. 20. This one is missing, and I suspect it's Satoru drowned in the bathroom in B. I suspect you have to get this one, get 2, and then that will happen. Whoops. Then this one will happen. Okay. They get killed by mysterious shadow. Utsumi's plan execution. They had 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. We don't know. I couldn't trigger any of these, so I don't know exactly how these trigger. They might be like you die in White World as Kokoro. Like you die in different things as Kokoro, and then it causes you to get different bad endings or something. Then Utsumi on a rampage, and then this one. And there's 2 more bad ends. Somehow. I don't know. One of them could be potentially, you do everything right, but you previously landed on, like, Location X Avalanche end. Or Kokoro falls from the cornice end. Or Kokoro crushed by guilt suicide end. And so when you get there, there's, like, no one there or something. Something like that, right? And so you get these possible, like, bad endings at the end of Satoru. That's, like... Anyway. As far as the scenes are concerned, we are still missing 10% of Shadow of Falsehood. Which you might have to... I don't know how that works. You might have to, like, distrust... I don't know how you get that. You do something as Satoru and then you go back to Kokoro afterwards, but I don't know what you do exactly. We're missing 4% at the beginning of Ego Collapse. We have a scene here we're missing, which seems to be, which is likely, we don't know what that is exactly. I don't know what that is. But there is wait, is that the end one? There's a missing scene here. Doesn't seem to be associated with an ending. They get the bad ending. Then Satoru, we have 100% all the way up until we get to Dimly, and then we are missing 18% of Dimly. Maybe because you can hit a bad ending in there. We're missing like a couple lines in Reflection 1 and a couple lines in Polyhedron. Polyhedron is kind of a complicated scene though, so I'm not surprised. We're missing a lot in Receive, which is interesting. We're missing a lot in DHA, which is interesting. We're missing some in NBA, which makes sense because it's a complicated scene with like a random process in it. So it makes sense that you like randomly wouldn't get some of the lines. They were all the way 100%ed, all the way up to Insanity. So, yeah, that's a lot of 100%. And Insanity, we're only at 52%. Fatal, we're at 61%. Disclosure, 100%. Lethal, we're at 95%, 65%. 100 on Anecdote. 100 on Miracle Child. Forgot what happens in Insanity. ,74% of Recollect. 100% of phobia, 97% of insertion. We haven't maxed out insertion yet, apparently. Only 30% of promise. And then 100% from Hecate down to consciousness. Symbolic, we're only at 73%. The third area we've maxed out. Apoptosis, we're only at 99%. Because they haven't got there. I don't know what we're missing here on apoptosis. And then ambivalence, we're maxed out. These are not quite maxed out. We don't have everything on delta and infinite history. Okay, and then let's see here. What are we missing on the CG front? Something missing here. That's interesting. Something missing here. Something missing after here. Something missing here. A lot missing, actually. Huh. And then the miscellaneous. We have all the movies and we have all the miscellaneous. We have all the posters, right? Yeah. Okay, stop here.